If you need space, go back to Africa. Nobody wants you here.
Whoa.
All you do is burn down and ruin stuff. You little. You unmuted me again. You dumb boomer. Go ahead. Protect the. Protect.
Oh, producer, can we remove them?
Welcome to Racist of the Week.
I can't even see the audience because it's so dark.
Now, this is where we expose the stupidity and hypocrisy of discrimination in hopes we could build a more perfect union and also laugh. This is one I'm going to struggle to find anything funny. As usual, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Racism. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the page and definitely leave me any possible suggestions for nominees in the comments. Today's nominee, the Denver City Council. Two black elementary school children who spoke at a Denver City Council meeting faced racial abuse from a Zoom participant who called them N's and told them to go back to effing Africa. These two students were from Monarch Montessori School, and they attended the meeting to advocate for several of their school plans. One was in the 4th grade and the other was in the 5th grade. They're part of their school's student leadership committee, and they presented a proposal to build a yurt for music classes and additional classroom space. So think for a moment about a young girl in 4th grade and a young girl in 5th grade who rose to a level of leadership in their school, who get the opportunity to speak to the city council to advocate for additional resources for their programs. Nothing but the most innocent of intentions. And less than a minute into their speech, a female sounding voice interrupted via Zoom with a racist tirade lasting about 30 seconds. The council staff quickly worked to remove the caller, but the tirade included statements like, "You effing little N's," "You should remove the N's," and "It's the Jews that brought them here." Now, one of the girls was so upset she broke into tears and had to be escorted from the podium by her teacher, while the other chose to restart her speech. What do you tell these girls? What exactly is it that you tell these girls in a situation like this? How do you make sense of something like this? As a father of a young daughter, thinking of having to educate her to some of the ways of the world, what is the lesson that you teach her in this instance? And also, it's not lost on me that this is who we are dealing with out here. People that don't have the human decency to protect small children from their ignorance. The same small children that they would have us believe are so delicate that they can't hear about Black history without feeling bad about themselves, right? The same small children who we can't tell the truth about the Civil War, we can't tell the truth about Jim Crow or the Civil Rights Movement, we can't tell them the whole truth because the white kids would feel bad about themselves, but then turn around and have no problem dropping "you little N's" on young Black girls. So apparently, the feelings of young Black girls and young Black children in general isn't something to be considered ever. Not when we're talking about what we can't study in history, not to give them a better understanding of their place in the world, and certainly not when they're here at a Denver City Council meeting just innocently advocating for resources for their school. Now, Council President Jamie Torres condemned the incident, stating the words were vile, as was the character of a person who would actively seek to say these words to two beautiful and courageous young girls. These youth gathered the bravery to bring their voices to their city council representatives to improve their school and community. We honor and praise these two young voices and condemn anyone who would attack them and any other member of our community. I would second that. Now, the disruption derailed the public comment section, preventing two more Monarch Montessori students from speaking about creating safe crossing areas around their school. However, the students were allowed to give their speeches privately to council members afterwards. Some council members stayed after the meeting to offer support and speak with the families. And I applaud those council members who stayed after to offer support and speak with the family. I don't know why it doesn't say all council members stayed after the meeting to offer support and speak with the families. I don't know why you decide to leave. You know what? I think I'm good. I think they got enough support. Besides, I thought maybe the Zoom caller made some good points. So, you know, I don't want to contradict myself by leaving the meeting. I'm also thinking about the students that didn't get a chance to speak, because I'm sure this is something that they really look forward to, watching what happens to their schoolmates and knowing they won't get an opportunity because the public can't be trusted to hear from schoolgirls. That's where we are in 2024, that this has to happen in private because we can't trust the public not to drop ends on little black girls. Now, Giovanni Bro, the girl's teacher, expressed her distress over the incident, saying, as a black woman, bringing these young black students to the city council and getting them so excited was something she was doing for the first time. Seeing them so excited and having to face such behavior was excruciating. Everyone's response was jaws hitting the floor. And I really sympathize with the teacher's position, because while you thought that you were doing an amazing thing by giving them an opportunity to present themselves publicly, now all of a sudden that becomes the vehicle for them learning a very difficult lesson about the black experience. And despite the fact that it being 0% your fault, it would be lost on me if you didn't feel some form of culpability for putting them in this position. Now, Monarch Montessori Executive Director Laura Preddy announced that the school is organizing an event with the school board to celebrate the children's bravery. Quote, I was so proud of the girls for the work they did to prepare and go before the city council to speak. To have something like that happen worries me that it could scare a young person away from engaging in democratic systems and using their voice to advocate for things that they care about. City council administrative staff are investigating the incident, which they called a breach. Typically, public participants in city council meetings via Zoom are muted until they're called on to speak. The caller identified themselves as Charla Nash, but council administrators believe this name is fake because it matches a woman who was attacked by a chimp in 2009. They're working to determine how the disruption occurred and to implement better preventative measures. Now, let me say, I am no stranger to Zoom bombing, okay? I have been in some meetings where a Zoom bomber dropped in and they just say the most outrageous thing they can, which is really quite stupid. I mean, we have to actually feel some appreciation for how stupid and lazy Zoom bombers are, that they just announce themselves immediately. If they really want to be a little more insidious, they'd be a little bit more subtle in their Zoom bombing. So I do want to thank them for their ignorance and their complete lack of attention span. But all that I could wish on this person, they actually presented themselves by referencing Charla Nash, the woman who was attacked by a chimpanzee. So I can only hope about the ugliness that this person feels on the inside, that they would feel the need to drop this on young black schoolgirls. I could only hope for that, but then it becomes clear when you reference Charla Nash. Now, the fact that they had to endure these racist actions and words in our chamber brings us pain. That was Torres. The Denver City Council condemns any hate speech and wants those responsible to know it only serves to motivate us on the City Council, 2 of whom are African American, 6 of whom are Latina, and all of whom will continue to serve proudly as anti-racist council and community members. Now, to the Zoom bomber, is that the conclusion you were looking for? Is that the conclusion you were looking for? Because that's the only conclusion that you were going to get. Now, I had said earlier about the dissonance that it takes to try and protect young white children from having to understand the realities of America's history, but have no problem dropping this on young black girls. How about the fact that while we're having this national debate about DEI, while we're having this national debate about the real race experience in America, you give us all the evidence we need for why that's necessary? You give us all the evidence we need for why that's necessary. You will at the same time argue that our experience is not valid and the things that we are describing to you do not exist, but yet this is what young black schoolgirls have to go through, and you're going to give us the video and audio in 2024. That is what I call hustling backwards. Is this what you want? Because I can't imagine that the true architects of white supremacy in America would be pleased with this. This is not how you go about your business. Now, it's how a lot of people have been going about their business lately. It's the reason why I've had to record not one, not two, not three, but 4 of these bad boys within the last 7 calendar days. That is how bold racists have been getting in 2024, which on the one hand, I have to have some appreciation for, because you leave the evidence right here. You leave the evidence right here, all over the web, all over TV, all over Zoom, for people to be able to reference for the work that we need to do in society. So I have to have a little gratitude for you there. But at the same time, it does give me pause for wondering just how bold they will get that they have no problem doing this in a public forum where they know it's recorded to young school children. What's the line? You tell me what the line is for these people, because they keep claiming that, we need to get back to human decency in America. We need to get back to decorum in America. Is this what you're talking about? This was it? Huh? Okay, so congratulations to the unnamed caller. You are our racist of the week. And I also want to apologize to Charlotte Nash for even being associated with any of this. But as always, if you have somebody you would like to nominate, please leave it in the comments. You can email me at reese.waters@gmail.com. And thanks to those that sent me this story to suggest it for Racist of the Week. I'm always taking suggestions, so I very much appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe to the page to make sure you get notified when the next video drops.
I can't believe I'm even reporting this. Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, says he will arrest any members of Congress who dare to interrupt Benjamin Netanyahu's speech inside of Congress.
Hi, my name is Reese Waters and I'm troubled. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Now, here I am minding my own business when I see this.
I can't believe I'm even reporting this. Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, says he will arrest any members of Congress who dare to interrupt Benjamin Netanyahu's speech inside of Congress next week. Again, he is threatening members of America's Congress with arrest if they interrupt a foreign leader giving them advice on what to do. And look at this article. It's from the Times of Israel. How much power does a foreign country have over us where American politicians would be arrested if they spoke out against that dictator, who's apparently a dictator of America, too? No country in the world would ever allow something like this. Israel themselves would never allow the President of the United States to ever go visit their version of Congress, the Knesset, to give advice to them. This is absurd. And when Benjamin Netanyahu gives his speech on camera, it is also broadcasting to the world that Israel rules America.
So this man is speaking before Congress, and the GOP is threatening members with arrest for dissent. Meanwhile, this was the last time we saw them in front of our leader.
Enough was enough, and I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother.
My bad. That was the wrong video. That was a deranged man speaking at the RNC convention. This was how they acted at the State of the Union.
30% they went up. The biggest increase in history. It was then. Not really.
So you won't respect the President of the United States of America, but you want to make sure that we respect their leader. Is that about it? Is that what I'm supposed to get from all of this? Now let me ask you this. Does this respect go both ways? Because last I checked, not only is this not the ask when American leaders go there, but this man took our money, does whatever he wants, whenever he wants, and then blame Biden when he dared to advise, oh, I don't know, a little restraint? Personally, he should feel comfortable. I don't understand why you are trying to tamp down any dissent. I mean, this is like a capo coming to collect a tax, this time in person. And not to mention, how does it look when you try and criminalize dissent? Because that's exactly what this is. You don't go to the lengths of tamping down and then doubling down and criminalizing dissent unless you know there's a significant amount of dissent. Criminalizing dissent only happens when you know you're moving so foul that dissent not only is there, but is overwhelming to the point of people unable to control themselves. That is when you criminalize dissent. And inherent in that is the self-admission of how foul you know that you're moving. This will be almost as crazy as keeping people in marriages they don't want to be in. I know I'm a trash husband, but instead of being decent, I'm going to make it illegal for you to leave.
And this is one of the great tricks that I think the sexual revolution pulled on the American populace, which is this idea that, like, well, okay, these marriages were fundamentally, you know, they were maybe even violent, but certainly they were unhappy. And so getting rid of them and making it easier for people to shift spouses like they change their underwear, that's going to make people happier in the long term. And maybe it worked out for the moms and dads, though I'm skeptical, but it really didn't work out for the kids.
MAGA logic. We're not going to act right. We're just going to prevent you from complaining.
We all saw what happened last week. We can't let that happen. Hopefully George is looking down right now and saying there's a great thing that's happening for our country. There's a great day for him. It's a great day for everybody.
I especially want to get the attention of all the left-wingers, like all those non-committed voters in Michigan, among others, holding Democratic feet to the fire about the atrocities in Gaza. Just listen to what they're saying.
We bless Israel. We bless Israel. Those who bless Israel shall be blessed.
In that degree program, I didn't research exactly what you teach, but are you familiar with Genesis 12:3?
Probably not as well as you are, Congressman.
Well, it's pretty clear. It was a covenant that God made with Abraham. And that covenant was real clear. If you bless Israel, I will bless you. If you curse Israel, I will curse you. And then in the New Testament, it was confirmed that all nations would be blessed through you.
Now, do you really think that this situation will get better under Trump? Because if you stay uncommitted, that's exactly what you're going to get. Just look at the RNC. They told you what it was.
Let me hear you cheer if you support Israel. Let me hear you cheer if you support Israel.
Trump is even using Palestinian as an insult.
Take a look at that. Look at a guy like Senator Schumer. I've always known him. I've known him a long time. I come from New York. I knew Schumer. He's become a Palestinian. He's a Palestinian now. Congratulations. He was very loyal to Israel and to Jewish people. He's Jewish, but he's become a Palestinian because they have a couple of more votes or something. Nobody's quite figured it out. Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one who wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one, and you should let him go and let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian, but they don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one.
Now, that is one of the many things I would be mad about if I was Biden. Just add that to the list. Wow, MAGA hasn't been this blatant in their guilt since they banned any real analysis of American history. By the way, I have an email list that I maintain, and I have a newsletter that I send out periodically as well. I would love for you to get on my email list. Feel free to shoot me a message at reese.waters@gmail.com. That's reese.waters@gmail.com. And the same goes if you have any suggestions for videos, if you have any nominees for Races of the Week, if you have something that you are troubled by, or you just want to throw me a kudos, feel free to email me. I don't always get a chance to look at all of the comments, but I definitely look at all of the emails and I respond in kind.
And that's when it hit me. These are my people. This is where I belong.
That actually tracks. That actually tracks. Hi, my name is Reese Waters, and I'm troubled. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Now, when it was first announced that Amber Rose was speaking at the RNC convention, I actually thought it was pretty revealing. I actually addressed it in my last piece about the myth of DEI.
At the end of the day, I don't think they'll go there. I don't think they can. They're in a box. They are in a box where they've got to choose between a mentally incompetent president and a DEI vice president, and they know that they're going to be facing a problem either way.
So help me out, Republicans. I mean, if I work hard at my job, at my vocation, and I get promoted, then I would be DEI. And then if I'm somebody who's in a pool of people that can be selected for something, if I'm selected, that would be DEI. If I am elected by the people themselves, that would be DEI. Of course, if I start my own business and I build it up from scratch myself, then my success would be DEI. I'm curious, how exactly can I, as a black man, not be DEI? I don't understand. Like, do I have to walk around in a hockey mask? I'm trying to figure out how I can escape being DEI as a black, huh? Oh, they got an announcement? Oh, I get it now. So I suddenly become qualified when I support the destruction of my own kind. So let me get this straight. You call out Jasmine Crockett for being DEI. You call out the mayor of Baltimore for being DEI. You call out the president of Harvard for being DEI. But you throw up Amber Rose at the RNC convention. That is fascinating. But while I'm at it, you don't ever consider Byron Donalds or Tim Scott or even Herschel Walker DEI. So I think I understand what DEI exactly means, because you will put Amber Rose in front of the world at the RNC convention when you don't even know what she does. See, technically she is a rapper, because she wrapped herself around Kanye and Wiz Khalifa. So technically she is a rapper. But you see a face of semi-color and you see an opportunity. Oh, she called Trump a predator? We can overlook that. There would have actually been more uproar if she was asked to speak at the DNC, because if it was revealed that Amber Rose was speaking at the DNC convention, I'd be like, why? But asking her to speak at the RNC convention, I know all that that's about. I know exactly what that is about, because if we're being honest, ain't a whole lot of star power in that room. I'm just gonna be honest. Amber Rose gonna get off stage and have cocktails with Scott Baio and James Woods while they watch Kid Rock and one of the Ninja Turtles perform with Vanilla Ice. The RNC was the only possible way that Amber Rose could have stepped down from College Hill. Oh, she's ready? Okay. You sure you want to go with that? Okay, this should be good.
Hello, my name is Amber Rose. I'm a model and entrepreneur. Thank you. But most importantly, I'm a mother. My whole world revolves around providing for my children, keeping them safe, and giving them an opportunity for a better life. That's something that unites all American parents, whether we're Republicans, Democrats, conservatives, or liberals. We all want a better country for our children.
That's actually a very nice sentiment to start out with. Huh? What's that? Oh, her OnlyFans is popping? Not to mention the fact that you are speaking in front of a group of people looking to pass Project 2025, which in it states an attempt to restrict pornography. So...
But I'm here tonight to tell you, no matter your political background, that the best chance we have to give our babies a better life is to elect Donald Trump president of the United States.
Oh wow, that is tough talk. I can't wait to see her justification for this. I can't wait to see her explain why she feels this way.
No matter your political background, that the best chance we have to give our babies a better life is to elect Donald Trump president of the United States. Now, you may be wondering why I'm up here telling you this.
Wait. I'm not wondering that. I'm wondering why you said what you just said. You just said that was the best chance to give our children a... Did you just skip past any justification for the thing that you just said?
Now, you may be wondering why I'm up here telling you this. I'm no politician, and I don't want to be. But I do care about the truth. And the truth is that the media has lied to us about Donald Trump.
Even he didn't agree with that. even Trump didn't agree with that. He like, nah, I think they pretty on point.
And the truth is that the media has lied to us about Donald Trump. I know this because for a long time I believed those lies. So I'm here to set the record straight.
Oh, I can't wait to hear you set the record straight on those lies. Just pick one, anyone, please.
I know this because for a long time I believed those lies. So I'm here to set the record straight. The first person I knew who supported Donald Trump was my father. I was shocked. My entire family is racially diverse. And I believed the left-wing propaganda that Donald Trump was a racist. My father said, "No, he's not, Amber. What are you talking about?"
Is your father in the media? Is your father in... Did you just skip past all of the media lies that you said about Donald Trump? What the hell is going on? This is like a book report for a book. Not only did you not read it, you never even heard of it.
And I believed the left-wing propaganda that Donald Trump was a racist. My father said, "No, he's not, Amber. What are you talking about?" And when I insisted, he said, "Prove it." So to prove my father wrong, I did my research and looked into all things Donald Trump.
I can't wait to see this research that you did. This should be good.
So to prove my father wrong, I did my research and looked into all things Donald Trump. People have to do their research. I watched all the rallies, and I started meeting so many of you, his red hat wearing supporters. I realized Donald Trump and his supporters don't care if you're black, white, gay, or straight. It's all love.
Was that what you got from the research? Is that what the research told you? No, that's what watching the rallies told you. That's what watching the rallies told you, that it's all love. Okay, so the research that you did was watching the rallies. Now, I'm curious, did you think the rallies were like whites only? Like, did you think that anybody of color would not be allowed into the rally? Like the fact that you saw black people at the rally, all of a sudden you realize that it was all love? Is that what it is? Because they love black people at the rally. They love nothing more than to put a face of color up front and center. That's why you're speaking at the RNC. So I can understand why you go into the rally. You're like, oh, it is all love. This is so wonderful and accepting. But if you would have actually even opened up a laptop, you would have understood some of the reality. So you did research like the same way that Aaron Rodgers did research about COVID. Is that what it is?
And that's when it hit me. These are my people. This is where I belong.
Now that makes a lot of sense. That actually makes a lot of sense because, as I mentioned, if you would have gone to the DNC, they would have wondered what your qualifications are to have us all sitting at rapt attention, listening to the words coming out of your mouth. But if you are at the RNC and you have even a hint of melanin, they will gladly throw you on stage. I'm surprised they didn't bring Herschel. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't bring Herschel. Lawrence Taylor must be furious.
So I let go of my fear of judgment, of being misunderstood, of getting attacked by the left, and I put the red hat on too.
You had a fear of judgment? You have a tattoo on your face. I thought that part of the agreement you make when you get a face tattoo is no fear of judgment. I gotta look more into that.
When I met the president and Melania for the first time, he was kind and generous and funny as hell. Very funny.
I've heard that, actually. I've heard he is pretty funny. Did he tell you the one about the influencer, the public figure who made her bones with women's empowerment and giving them the freedom to express and explore themselves, later cozying up to a political party with a platform looking to restrict all reproductive freedoms and also prevent them from being able to leave marriages even where there is violence? Yeah, she actually spoke at their convention on the same day as the VP was named, who actually defends that stance. Yeah, that was a good one.
The First Lady was gracious and smart with a smile that will brighten up any room. If you're watching this tonight, you know our country is in trouble, just like me. When you go to the store and buy food for your family, you're shocked. When you fill up your gas tank, you're pissed. I know I am. And when you turn on the news, you are just exhausted. Inflation is out of control. And you know in your heart it was not like this under Donald Trump.
That's actually true. She's right about that. It was not like this under Donald Trump, because for this to be like this under Donald Trump, he would have had to see the tail end of COVID and the inflation that hit worldwide. Thankfully, COVID was still raging when he left office, so there was no inflation to speak of.
My message to you tonight comes from a humble place. The left told me to hate Trump, and even worse, to hate the other side, the people who support him. When you cut through the lies, you realize the truth. American families were better when Donald Trump was president.
Which families is she talking about? I'm trying to figure out which families is she talking about, because I know they've been roaming around saying all of the wrong information about black unemployment and whatnot, and investment in black communities. I understand that has been thoroughly debunked, that was more extensive under Biden. So I'm trying to figure out what families are you talking about the Trump's family? Are you I'm trying, like, what Who are you talking about? What families exactly?
We were safer, wealthier, and stronger. A vote for Donald Trump is a vote to put money back in our pockets and good food on our kids' plates.
Oh, they absolutely love that myth about crime. Yeah, they act like we live in a real life escape from New York. Yeah, they act like it's the movie The Warriors every time we walk outside, despite the fact that crime is actually historically low. But if there's one thing that is consistent about MAGA, they try and act like we can't read. They pretend that we do research the way Amber Rose does research.
Or, as Trump would say, it's a vote to make America great again. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Did y'all just give her a standing ovation? Did they just give her a standing ovation for that word salad that she just threw up? Now, I understand that the bar is set at Trump, and the fact that she actually move through coherent sentences, even though there was nothing to back them up. I understand that probably was raising the bar. But for a group of people that love to rail against DEI, where was the bar set for Amber Rose? I can't wait to hear what CNN has to say about this. I mean, really, surely this will get the critical reception that it deserves.
This is how you change the composition of the electorate.
Yeah, that was probably the most dangerous speak for the Democratic coalition. That is a young woman of color. She's describing the experience a lot of people have, feeling that maybe if you're around too many liberals, you might get criticized too much, or you might not be able to speak your mind. And she spoke to it really well. And she's way more famous than any of us up here. Yeah. I'm going to tell you that, way more famous. And so to the extent that these guys are trying to bust up our coalition, that was a bunker buster right there.
By the way, and it's one of the things we've been talking about, but there are speakers who speak to the room, and there are speakers who speak through the television screen. She speaks through the camera to the audience at home, not, I mean, she's effective in the room, but when you're yelling into the room, that is not communicating directly through the lens.
This person is super talented. Okay, like this person knows how to speak plainly and directly, knows how to use the camera, the cadence of it. They got something there.
Yeah, and it really is hard. In those big arenas, it's hard not to want to fill up the room. You want to scream, just make sure the grandma in the back can hear you. But you're not talking to the 30,000 people there. You're talking to the 30 million people at home. And she was the most effective.
So that's what we're doing now? This is what we're doing now. This is what we're doing now. This is considered an effective speech. See, this is the problem with our political coverage right now, is the complete double standard. She would have gave this at the DNC. What would you say? Why the hell was Amber Rose up there? You would have said, why the hell did I sit there and waste that much of my time when I would have much rather been listening to Wiz Khalifa, or at least seeing his latest TikTok in that dress? Why is Amber Rose up here? But all of a sudden, because it's at the RNC and you have a semi-brown face who put some words together, all of a sudden it was effective. Is this kind of double standard that has been the chief problem with our political coverage? Biden just had to get Lester Holt together for the exact same crap.
You won't answer the question, but why didn't the press talk about all the lies he told?
Well,
I don't know anything about that.
We have reported many of the issues that came up during that debate.
No, you haven't.
We'll provide you with them.
God love you.
Here, by the way, is a much better analysis of Amber Rose. And finally, it is good to see Jocelyn finally get her flowers. So at the end of the day, you have somebody who does not identify as black, who made her money and has notoriety off of the back of black culture, appearing at the RNC as the face of black culture, representing its outreach to black culture. That actually tracks. That actually tracks. She actually is the ideal person for you to have picked. I can't think of a better person to represent the complete futility and misrepresentation of black outreach than Amber Rose. That is very well done. By the way, as far as we're concerned, and then they get mad when we gatekeep. They get mad when we gatekeep, but they want to throw up Amber Rose back at our face. As far as CNN is concerned, I need to understand how this was something that you processed in any way representing a legitimate political discourse. I mean, where is the bar for the RNC?
Joe Biden and the Democrats think they know how to spend your money better than you do. They want to take your dollars, they want to take your voice, they want to take your control and give it back to D.C. bureaucrats to execute their woke and Green New Deal agenda. Well, that plan doesn't work because hope is not a plan. Black people were sold on hope. Now our streets are rife with crime. Our kids can't read.
All right, I give you that. That was bad. That was bad. You know what? He might have just been confused because he did say earlier that he was a Detroit Lions fan. So maybe give him another shot. What else he had to say?
Yeah, I heard a little bit earlier today. If you don't vote for Donald Trump, you ain't black. But see, here's the thing.
Hey, whoever that cameraman is, give him a raise. Shout out to that cameraman for panning to the audience. Throw that on one more time.
Yeah, I heard a little bit earlier today. If you don't vote for Donald Trump, you ain't black. But see, here's the thing.
Put Amber Rose back on. No, go ahead. Please, just put Amber Rose back on. Now all of this makes sense. She was bad, but she wasn't that bad.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
I need to know where's the media on this. Hi, welcome to Street Politics. My name is Reese Waters. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Now, after a whirlwind first week, I was curious just to see exactly how Trump was going to respond, because we've seen how the people have responded.
She doesn't have to go out there and sell sneakers or Bibles, you know? All she did was announce that she's running, and they said, where do we sign up?
And I think she gonna give Trump what he needs. He ain't ready for this one.
The level of energy is higher, and we just got to keep this up. We only have 100 days left. We can run through the finish line. Don't slow down, but keep going.
And let me tell you, I was disappointed. Well, no, I can't say disappointed. I was disappointed, but not surprised. It's kind of like watching Best Man Holiday. Yeah, or any of the blockbusters. I was disappointed, but not surprised. Let's start with this one, which didn't get nearly the play that it should have.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
Now, let's put to the side the moment of whether he said, I'm not a Christian, because we all know the kind of Christian that Trump is. Trump is the kind of Christian who comes in at the end of service and dedicates his life to the Lord like every 3 weeks. But you see them every day in between those 3-week periods just on the block. He is that kind of Christian, except his 3-week period is every 4 years. So every 4 years he comes at the end of service to dedicate his life, and then he's on the block every day of the other 4 years. We know that. Put that to the side for a moment. The man said you won't have to vote anymore. We're gonna get it fixed. And I need to know, where's the media on this? I need to know, where's the media on this? Because when he said a thing about bloodbath, they went absolutely crazy. But the man can say you won't have to vote again. And I hear nary a peep. This is the problem I have. They are treating Trump like he is senile, like he can just say whatever he wants to say and you don't take it seriously, but you don't call him senile. You was calling Biden senile. So Biden was a senile one, but Trump just gets to say nonsense and you don't take it seriously. Is that where we're at? Because I think we're at the part where he's saying the quiet part out loud.
A criminal is a criminal, and they generally stay a criminal, and we don't have time to figure it out.
That's right, a criminal is a criminal. They generally stay a criminal, which, by the way, might be the most honest thing that Donald Trump has ever said. Certainly it is since 2016.
I want to be nice. They all say, I think he's changed. I think he's changed since 2 weeks ago. Something affected him. No, I haven't changed. Maybe I've gotten worse, actually, because I get angry.
He ain't lying. He ain't lying at all. He like the player at the end of his career where he just realized he don't really need the media and he just start telling you exactly how he feels. We have seen it. We've seen it many times.
Kobe, not to twist your words or read too much into what you said, but being around young players energized you. That's not a statement about maybe you'd like to see some young players on your team?
Wow. You know what? That's a Bikram yoga stretch. You stretched the hell out of it. Good job. Good job. I'm not even going to answer that. That's just silly. Next.
And like I said, and going back to Whitlock, I don't think he can comment on anything but snacks.
He's in that phase. He has just lost all reservation. He is backing out of the driveway without looking both ways. He just telling you like it is. Remember all that pretense about fake reaching out to the black community? Yeah, well, this is what he has to say now.
That we're going to give immunity to police so they can do their job. I'm giving federal immunity to police officers so they can do their job.
Now, he had said that before, but this time he said it in the wake of Sonia Massey. By the way, I did a whole video about that. The link is in the description. In said video, I opened up the possibility that he might have, if it was really real, him trying to court black voters, he might want to take a different tact. Did Trump tweet about Sonia Massey? Does his Truth Social account work? Oh wait, it does, because he saw fit to post this. Oh yeah, he had time to post this, but he didn't have time to post about Sonia Massey. That's weird. I would say that's weird, for somebody that obviously is receiving so much love from the black community to further entrench himself, that he wouldn't have posted that because he surely finds a way to exploit other crimes. I mean, let this have been a migrant, but this is where he decides to go, doubling down on where we knew he always lived. Even Cardi B knew this was a bad idea. And by the way, just let me take a tangent right here about Kamala Harris's record, because I've seen a lot of people out there tweeting various things about her locking up the homies and this, that, and other thing for weed offenses. You act as if Kamala Harris is running against somebody who doesn't have a record of his own. The man has a record of his own that we can look into, not to mention the fact that only one of these candidates has acknowledged systemic racism and the reason for wholesale needed changes with regards to our criminal justice system. So why would that be more relevant than his record and his assertion that he wants to give police immunity? It baffles the mind that somebody would hold them accountable for something that happened years ago, which has been debunked, but not the things that have happened right in front of their face in the past couple of years. It's almost as if this isn't being done in good faith. Now, we have seen all of the fake AI generated videos of Trump with black people. We've seen all of the fake photo ops of him with black people. We saw the black church that was filled with white people. We have seen a lot of fakery when it comes to Trump and black people. It stands to reason that would still be the case.
I believe that we're back here again. So let me preface what I'm about to say with this disclaimer. As an individual, you have a right to say whatever it is that you say and have an opinion on it. That doesn't mean you are not free from consequences or challenges. You have a right to sound as stupid as you want to be. So why do I say that? Entertainers have a right to comment on politics, and as long as I can remember, entertainers have been involved in politics in this country, especially black entertainers. Now, let me just say this. We don't have many Harry Belafontes and Lena Hornes in 2024. Unfortunately, we have people like Sexy Red, and now we got somebody like Sway Lee. I don't know this person, don't know a single song. But apparently Sway Lee wants you to not vote for Kamala Harris because she's black, or we think she's black. Sway Lee has 3.7 million followers on TikTok, 12.1 million followers on Instagram, and 905 followers on Twitter. So he has influence of some sort. But what 31-year-old Sway Lee lacks is the good sense that God gave him. Sir, you are not equipped to have the conversation that is being had by millions of people who are going beyond Kamala Harris's skin color. The fact that you are struggling between the differences of race, ethnicity, and nationality at this moment tells me you are not equipped to have a conversation about politics. I say this to say, to the people who are registered to vote, who are getting registered to vote, who are picking the politician to represent them, whether it's in Congress with the 435 seats up in the House, the 33 seats up in the Senate, or the president, don't y'all listen to people who don't understand the functions of the three branches of government. Pay attention to the people who know what they're talking about, as well as reading further. That's it, that's all.
But oh yeah, Donald Trump treats us like we're real people though, right?
Ilhan Omar. No, she went to a speech when I was running. When I was first running, and I in all fairness, I never did this stuff before I'm running. And this lunatic was in the audience. She started screaming. I said, who the hell is that? And it's the same crazy person that I watch every night. She's nuts. And she gets reelected by not a lot, but she gets reelected. How do you have people like that? I'm telling you, I was making a speech, and we had a lot of people, and she was like there someplace, and she got up and started screaming. I said, that woman is insane. She's crazy. And you know what? She's become like a major voice in Congress. Can you believe it?
Now, first of all, why are you watching her every night? Huh? Because for most people, that would be just a slip of the tongue, but you are a felon with very specific kinds of allegations. Second of all, that's the wrong brown person. Yeah, that's the wrong brown person. Yeah, it was Michigan Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, who was kicked out of a rally in 2016.
You guys are crazy!
You're an animal! Get a job!
And by the way, she did get a job. This man done lost it. This man done lost it. He just, this wasn't even as bad as when he was calling Obama the president back when he was still running against Biden. This would be like contesting the 2008 election and saying that I don't think Michael Irvin ever should have been able to run for president. No, absolutely not. It's really, no, because Albie Shore was not born in this country. LeVar Burton should have been impeached.
I want the United States to be first in technology, first in science, first in manufacturing, first in artificial intelligence, and first in space. You know, at MIT, my uncle was a professor there, Dr. John Trump. He would have fit in with this room very nicely, actually. That's why I mention it. And I believe he was the longest-serving professor in the history of MIT. He graduated. We have a very intelligent family, actually. He graduated tremendously. I think he is.
Graduated tremendously. He graduated tremendously. Has we have a very, very smart family ever been said? Have those words ever been uttered out of the mouth of a member of a very smart family? I'm just curious. I don't know that I've ever heard that out of the mouth of somebody who comes from a very smart family. All right, keep going.
But we will be creating so much electricity that you'll be saying, please, please, President, we don't want any more electricity. We can't stand it. You'll be begging me, no more electricity, sir. We have enough. We have enough.
Are you okay? What does too much electricity looks like? Cause it sounds like being electrocuted. Like it sounds like an unsafe situation. I don't know that too much electricity is anything that anybody asks for or can maintain or sustain. What are the ways in which you're going to provide this excess of electricity? Huh? You just turn it on? Yeah, I guess that's I'm sure that's as much as you understand and know about electricity. I'm also curious, you seem to have reached the Mad Libs portion of your career. You just plug and play the topic and just say the exact same thing about it. You know, at least he got through without acknowledging the right-wing trolls, you know, like the one who called Sheila Jackson Lee a ghetto bee after she died and made fun of Biden's dead ex-wife.
The great Laura Loomer. Some of you know Laura. She's a fantastic person, great woman, and a tremendous developer from New York and Florida.
Bro, I don't know where you go from here, man. I don't know where you go. Like, maybe the border?
Kamala Harris knows what she needs to do. I was there. I gave her all of the policies that she needed, all of them, and she refused to implement them. She does not care about you. She does not care about the safety of this country. He does.
However, there's just one problem with the border attacks.
I know you're not trying to zing your colleagues, but it's your colleagues in your party, sir, who torpedoed this, who didn't get the facts right on what you just outlined was in that measure. They killed it. Ironically, not Democrats.
Right. It was, and it was painful to be able to watch. It got stirred up in all the presidential politics, and several of my colleagues started looking for ways. After President Trump said, don't fix anything during the presidential election. It's the single biggest issue during the election. Don't resolve this. We'll resolve it next year. Quite a few of my colleagues backed up, looked for a reason to be able to shoot against it, and then walked away. I get that. That's a decision everybody makes in it. My issue is if we're pursuing everything, we very often end up with nothing. If we're pursuing someone coming later to fix it, later seems to never come. When we have a moment to fix things, we should fix as many things as we can then come back later and fix the rest.
That's on Donald Trump, Senator.
The former president had sort of mixed views on it. We all felt that the border was a complete disaster, myself included. And Chad, you remember covering the phases we went through. First, there was an effort to make law, which requires you to deal with Democrats. And then a number of our members thought it wasn't good enough. And then our nominee for president didn't seem to want us to do anything at all. That took months.
And all these videos are on the record. And believe me, it's going to get a whole lot worse when Kamala names a VP.
These are weird people on the other side. They want to take books away. They want to be in your exam room. That's what it comes down to. And don't, get sugarcoating this. These are weird ideas. Listen to them speak. Listen to how they talk about things. Listen to how your previous guests were right. Like you said, they've told them that they shouldn't talk about race. They can't help it. It is built into their DNA because there is no plan. There's no health care plan. There's no health care plan. There's nothing to do on this. They want to take away our alliances and leave Russia to do whatever they want. Look, they are bad on foreign policy. They are bad on the environment. They certainly have no health care plan. And they keep talking about the middle class that, as I said, a robber baron real estate guy and a venture capitalist trying to tell us they understand who we are. They don't know who we are.
I want to be nice. They all say, I think he's changed. I think he's changed since 2 weeks ago. Something affected him. No, I haven't changed. Maybe I've gotten worse, actually.
See, it's not that you're worse. You just don't have an actual case against Kamala Harris unless it's racism or sexism, do you? You don't actually have the ability to run on anything other than racism or sexism. In fact, that's a good idea for a video. I think I'm gonna make it. Sincere thanks to everybody who's reached out to me and submitted suggestions for videos. Keep them coming. I take submissions for ideas for a video, suggestions for Racist of the Week. If you have something that just troubles you, or you just want to send me a note, because I love getting those notes, go ahead and shoot me an email at reese@reesewaters.com. I also have a newsletter that I send out periodically, so you'll be receiving that as well. You can also sign up on my website, reesewaters.com.
Because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn, and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that she is... I think
somebody should look into that, too, when you continue in a very hostile, nasty tone. Coming from the border are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking black jobs.
You done went and did it. You done went and did it. You done, hey, NABJ, I hope you're proud of yourselves. I hope you're proud of yourselves. Hi, my name is Reese Waters, and I'm troubled. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Now, like a lot of you, when I heard that Donald Trump was speaking at the NABJ convention, by the way, that is the National Association of Black Journalists, BJ as in black jobs, I wondered who was getting what. I immediately started checking Venmo to see all the publicly available information to see what money changed hands. I just knew there had to be some kind of greater plan What's that? Oh, the chairman is blocking people? Wow. So she's giving no explanation. She just blocking people for criticizing on social media. Wow. Oh, wow. That is something. Well, she lucky it's no video. She just got to do her hand. Oh, it's video? Is video available? Well, throw that thing on.
I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today.
And by a lot of people, I think she means all people, because she definitely means me and people of my thinking. I can't imagine the people in his own camp wanted him to go there. Certainly not given the pushback. MAGA certainly didn't want him to be there. They don't want him to waste any time trying to present himself to black people. That's why they fill up the church when he's supposed to be at a black church.
You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist.
Just look at Trump while they're reading his litany of racial offenses. He like, I don't even remember doing all that. I'm a wild boy. Oh, snap. Look at me go. Look at my racism go.
You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country.
That's how we gonna start? That's how we gonna start. Wow. Trump disrespecting black journalists. I mean, who could have seen that coming?
What a stupid question that is. What a stupid question. But I watch you a lot. You ask a lot of stupid questions.
On the campaign trail, you called yourself a nationalist. Some people saw that as emboldening white nationalists. Now people are also saying that the president.
It's such a racist
There are
question.
some people.
The same thing with April Ryan. I watch her get up. I mean, you talk about somebody that's a loser. She doesn't know what the hell she's doing.
Are you going to include the Congressional Black Caucus and the Congressional
Well, I
Hispanic
would.
Caucus?
I tell you what. Do you want to set up the meeting? Do you want to set up the meeting?
No.
Are they friends of yours?
I'm just a reporter.
So he tweeted this late on Friday night. He said, LeBron James was just interviewed by the dumbest man on television, Don Lemon. He made LeBron look smart, which isn't easy to do. I like Mike.
Well, then, by all means, we got to have him at NABJ.
I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and, you know, and I say this, historically, black colleges and universities were out of money. They were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, you know, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late, just so we understand. I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something was wrong.
Mr. President, I would love
think
if you
it's
can
a
answer
very
the question
nasty
on your rhetoric
question.
and why you
I have
believe that
answered
black
the question.
He just called y'all ends. I mean, really, he just called y'all a bunch. He just called y'all ends. I hope you're proud of yourself, NABJ. He just called y'all a bunch of ends. Now, one thing that I will note, because I have already addressed his lies about his support of HBCUs and about the opportunity zones with Tim Scott. I'll put the link to that video in the description. But he talked about how Kamala Harris was supposed to be there. Now, she put out her own thoughts and statements about why she was unable to be at NABJ, because they told her that she was unable to do Zoom. So there seems to be a little bit of miscommunication, but on this particular note, Trump and Kamala are actually aligned in the fact in which they rejected the idea of either one of them doing Zoom. So they actually are consistent in that regard. NABJ, not so much.
Trust you with another
I
4
have
years.
been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President
That's
Johnson,
my
who signed the
answer.
Voting Rights
And
Act.
for you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work, in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace. I really do.
Let me just ask a follow-up, sir.
Forget how you feel. I'm going to tell you, because I know better about your circumstances and how good I have been for your people.
Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first Black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
give me a
literally
definition
the words
then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition of
Sir,
that.
I'm asking you a question,
No,
a
you
very
have to
direct
define
question.
it. Define it for me if you would.
It is incredible that the man whose sycophants cannot stop saying DEI. I got a DoorDash delivery the other day had DEI on it. They can't stop saying DEI, but he himself needs a definition, like he had a spelling bee. Let's be honest, he probably couldn't spell DEI. Can you use it in a sentence? You do it all the time.
Define it for me if you
I
would.
just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a Black woman?
Well, I can say, no, I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much.
Yes, you have known her. In fact, you supported her.
And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was Black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn Black, and now she wants to be known as Black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she Black?
She is always
But you know
identified
what?
as a Black woman.
I
She went to a
respect
historically
either
Black
one.
college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a Black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do
And
you
I
believe
think,
that
I think
she is
somebody should look into that too when you ask continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some Republicans
I really
have
don't know.
said?
I mean, I really don't know. Could be.
I just find it so fascinating when people come from outside and try and break down other people's blackness. So is it up for you? Like, how am I doing with my blackness? Or maybe should I ask Lil Pump? The level of condescension that it takes to challenge somebody's blackness as a non-Black person is absolutely off the charts. Not to mention the fact that they also have their bots doing the bidding, pretending to be Black people as well. So they have unleashed the bots, but they are willing to sit up here in front of the NABJ.
And we had a great interview, I think, and I heard you got very good ratings on that
Well,
interview.
you told me it was the longest one of your life, so we had a good discussion. Look, I want to talk about why you're here today.
Is that Harris Faulkner of Fox News? You mean this Harris Faulkner?
It's as though people on the left have more free time than anybody else. They want to acronym and pronoun us to death. Well, know this. The Lord has determined I am a woman, and my pronouns are USA.
David, I love you, brother, but when you say they're trying to get rid of fossil fuels, the facts that the carpet doesn't match the drapes, brother. I mean, we've had historic fossil fuel production.
I do it in the summer, and I put fresh strawberries in here, too.
Oh, what a good idea.
Right?
make Kool-Aid?
That's another.
I'm gonna try this.
Do I do what?
Make Kool-Aid.
No, I don't make Kool-Aid.
Hey, Harris, I think, check your phone. Yeah, you need to answer your phone. Roland Martin looking for you.
Look, I want to talk about why you're here today. I mean, it is not lost on us how divided we are as a country. And as you were coming today, we really got to see that we are divided along the lines of race, along the lines of gender. And there is this question of, in this moment where we are, why come here? What is your message today?
My message is to stop people from invading our country that are taking, frankly, a lot of problems with it. But one of the big problems, and a lot of the journalists in this room I know and I have great respect for, A lot of the journalists in this room are black.
That was good. That was good. That Trump, I give you that one. That was good.
Coming from the border are millions and millions of people.
No, you're not gonna say it. No, don't you do it. Hey, Trump, don't you do it.
Coming from the border are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking black jobs. You had the best.
You done went and did it. You done went and did it. You done. Hey, NABJ, I hope you're proud of yourselves. I hope you're proud of yourselves.
What exactly is a black job, sir?
A black job is anybody that has a job. That's what it is. Anybody that has a job.
All right.
And
Mr.
they're taking the employment away from black people. They're coming in, they're invading. It's an invasion of millions of people, probably 15, 16, 17 million people.
Now, that's interesting. I mean, he wasn't pulling no punches with anything else. I don't know why he shied away from the black jobs thing, because if a black job is anybody that has a job, there wouldn't be a need to delineate black jobs. Now, would there? If it was just anybody that has a job, then he would just say they're coming and taking American jobs. But he specified black jobs. He also said Latino jobs, which are apparently jobs who anybody who crosses the border is able to get. So I hope the journalists at NABJ feel sufficiently threatened, because apparently anybody who just crossed the Rio is able to be a black journalist now. You know, Essence has really gone downhill. Yeah, they don't even publish in English no more.
Sadia Massey, someone from Illinois, an unarmed black woman, was shot the other day in her home by a deputy sheriff. The deputy has since been charged with murder. You've said police would get immunity from prosecution if you win. Why should someone like that officer have immunity, in your opinion?
Immunity?
Immunity.
I don't know the exact case, but I saw something.
That tells you everything. That tells you everything. By the way, I just had a racist of the week talking about Candace Owens accusing the Biden campaign of trying to cozy up to black folks by bothering to acknowledge the Sonia Massey case. To which I said, well, if Mr. Black man Donald Trump really wanted to cement himself, then obviously he's free to post about that, because he certainly posts about all manner of other nonsense. He certainly could post about Kamala. I mean, what's another black woman? Oh, I forgot. She's Indian. She's Indian. I forgot about that. He's certainly free to do that. The man doesn't even know anything about it. But I tell you what, let it have been an immigrant, he would know all about it. Actually, that's probably not fair. He would be willing to talk about it, but he wouldn't actually know, because he would have to pay attention to briefings to know things.
Why should someone like that officer have immunity, in your opinion?
Immunity?
Immunity.
I don't know the exact case, but I saw something, and it didn't look good to me. It didn't look good to me. Are you talking with the water, right?
Yeah. Well, police unions are not backing this person either.
Okay.
But again, why would
they're going to be charging the officer? I guess they're charging the officer.
So why should he receive immunity?
Well, he might not. I mean, it depends. It depends on what happens.
Well, that's technically true. He might not, as long as we continue with the current implementation of immunity. But given your implementation of immunity, he certainly will.
And our crime rate is going to be a disaster.
Mr. President, I want to get into how you address some of the issues with black communities. And I say that plural because we live in communities of color that are different. We're not all the same. We don't vote the same. We don't think the same.
True.
It's not monolithic. So as you come here today, I want to talk about something that bursts. And this is the weight of the inflation on this country right now. The nonprofit Money Management International recently released data from its mid-year analysis that we have found a 52% rise in people who are seeking counseling for being in credit debt. They're paying for food that is sky high on their credit cards, and now they can't pay that off. The credit counseling nonprofit MMI, as I said, is saying now that they've seen surges that they haven't seen since we were in a pandemic of people in financial trouble. Much of that falls on the shoulders of single moms, single black moms, when you look statistically.
Yeah.
How do you turn it around? What's your plan for the black community when it comes to money?
So, first of all, it's very hard to hear you for whatever reason because of the fact that they have bad equipment, because I guess, you know, this woman was unable to get the right equipment. But it's very hard for me to hear you, but I can hear every other word. It's very difficult, actually. But so I don't know if they can fix it or do something with it, but I'll do the best I can with it.
He has no idea what you just said. He has no idea. Also, I would love to point out the fact that he is blaming the poor equipment and the poor acoustics and the poor audio transmission at the National Association of Black Journalists Convention. The man is not speaking at the Little League World Series. The man ain't at a rodeo. This is a convention of people in media, and he's talking trash about the equipment. I hope you're proud of yourselves. I hope you're proud of He just called y'all the Chitlin Circuit. I mean, he just called y'all the Chitlin Circuit. I hope you're proud.
I won the case, and it got very little publicity. I didn't notice ABC doing any publicity on it, George.
We covered you
George
extensively, sir. I'd love to move over on to different topics.
I didn't notice you do any publicity on it at all. I won the case, the biggest case. This is an attack on a political opponent. I have another one where I have a hostile judge.
We have you for a limited time, sir. I'd love to move on to different topics.
No, excuse you. You're the one that held me up for 35 minutes, just so you understand.
All right, so he has already blamed her for the equipment. He blamed her for holding him up. He blamed her for the initial question. I mean, the gall that it takes to sit up at a convention full of black people and disrespect a black woman to that degree, that is a man who is counting on 0% support from the black community. Like, we can now understand that at no point were any of these claims of black advancement in the polls legitimate, because apparently he fears absolutely nothing by his blatant disrespect for Rachel Scott, by the way, who was the woman next to him. He wouldn't dare mention her name.
The reason I asked the question is because the last time you and I sat and talked was the day that you were shot. We'd been together for much of that day. You left to go to Butler, Pennsylvania, and we didn't know what was next.
Yeah.
And 2 days after that,
I cannot understand your microphone.
I know
is so
it is really hard for me to
it's
understand
just
you too.
I can understand you perfectly.
Because she's closer.
I can understand you.
Happy to hear that, sir.
But I can't
really
understand.
Is it funny, Harris? Is it funny? Yeah, look at her disrespecting the black woman that I'm on the panel with, and also I'm on the panel because I'm a black woman. But I identify with him though. I like that. I like that. Now, I talk often about pick-me behavior, but rarely do you get to see it displayed to such a degree.
I think I'd know. Look, if I came onto a stage like this and I got treated so rudely as this woman treated me.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm fine with it because she was very rude, sir. Very rude. That wasn't a question. She didn't ask me a question. She gave a statement. That wasn't a question.
I repeated your statement, sir, actually.
You said you would. You would.
Oh,
make that
absolutely.
decision
If
to
I
step
thought
down.
that I was failing in some way, I want people to be sharp. I'll go a step further. I want anybody running for president to take an aptitude test, to take a cognitive test. I think it's a great idea. And I took 2 of them and I aced them.
Now, this actually bothered me quite a bit. I'm gonna be completely honest. You guys know I have jokes, but this bothered me. Look at her body language. Look at her body language right now, because she is sitting up there being verbally assaulted by a presidential candidate, and nobody has the gall to check him or to protect her. I hope you're proud of yourselves.
President, I would love to ask you about January 6th. You've called yourself the candidate of law and order.
Yeah.
When Time Magazine asked you if you would consider pardoning all the rioters, you said, yes, absolutely.
Sure.
You called them patriots. 140 police officers were assaulted that day. Their injuries included broken bones, at least one officer lost an eye, one had 2 cracked ribs, 2 smashed spinal discs, another had a stroke. Were the people who assaulted those 140 officers, including those I just mentioned, patriots who deserve pardons?
Well, let me bring it back to modern day. Like about 5 days ago, we had an attack on the Capitol, a horrible attack on the Capitol. You saw the people that were protesting and spraying these incredible monuments, bells, lions, all these magnificent limestone and granite with red paint, red spray paint that will never actually come off, especially in the limestone. It will never, I'm a builder, I know about this stuff. It'll never, you'll see it in 100 years from now. They viciously attacked our government. They fought with police. They fought with them much more openly than I saw on January 6th. What's going to happen to those people? What's going to happen to the people in Portland that destroyed that city?
But sir, my question is on those.
What's going to happen to
my
the people
question is
that
on
tried
those
to
rioters who assaulted officers.
You have to
would you pardon
what's
those
going to
people?
happen? Oh, absolutely, I would.
You would pardon those?
If they're innocent, I would pardon them.
They've been convicted.
And by the way, the Supreme Court just under.
And I have to give her credit for keeping this whole thing semi on the rails. It definitely went off the rails. We'll get to that. I'm just going to let the train run all the way off the track into the bushes and land in a ravine where it belongs. But credit to her for keeping her professionalism, because Lord knows if she would have wilded out, that would have been the kind of thing that gets rewarded in today's society. It's all about the viral moment, right? It's all about the viral moment. She had an opportunity to have one, and she would have been justified, and she didn't do it. She was the most professional person in that room.
Pardon them.
They've been convicted.
And by the way, the Supreme Court just under. Well, they were convicted by a very tough system.
And I can't imagine what Right Side Broadcasting is saying about this one. What will be their level and degree of deflection here for something that they carried live showing Trump black support crater?
Well, that was quite interesting. As you all know, this is Matthew Alvarez with Bobby McNeely here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. Of course, President Trump somewhat going into the lion's den there.
Why is it the lion's den? Why is it the lion's? Because y'all told me that black people love Trump, right? Y'all told me that wasn't real. That wasn't real.
Of course, Harris Faulkner being respectful to the president, that first journalist to President Trump's left, not so much. Unexpected in some ways. We thought this would be more of a roundtable discussion, and instead there was some hostile words or questions and statements, and you can tell there is extreme bias there by that one journalist.
Ooh, disrespectful, hostile questions, bias. That is what they call conducting an actual interview. An actual interview is biased, and you're hostile if you actually challenge him on the claims that he makes. So he is entirely incapable of being interviewed by somebody who's outside of the MAGA echo chamber. I can't imagine how juvenile he must feel to know you think that about him. That is wild.
Sandra, some interesting questions, an interesting dynamic there as well, not only with the questioners, but the crowd.
Yeah, really interesting.
There's that word interesting again. There's that word interesting. Now, I just want to ask you, if you had a song, or you had a piece of art, or you wrote a book, an article, and you sent it to a friend of yours, and you asked them, what do you think, huh? I need your honest opinion. And they came back with, it was interesting. You know it was trash. We know what interesting means. We all know what interesting means.
Sandra, some interesting questions, an interesting dynamic there as well, not only with the questioners, but the crowd.
Yeah, really interesting. Well, I'm sure a lot of people stopped to watch that. Our own Harris Faulkner on the stage there getting some questions into the former president as well. And it appears, John, the White House is already responding to an exchange that happened there on that stage. The White House saying that the comments that the former president made on Kamala Harris's racial identity are insulting, is what we have just gotten in from the White House as the briefing was ongoing with Karine Jean-Pierre just a short time ago.
It was insulting. In fact, the entire thing was insulting to the point that, now here's me, I'm gonna put on my tinfoil hat right now. I have to wonder, okay, NABJ brought in Donald Trump to speak at their convention. Apparently, according to him, now granted he has the credibility of a QAnon thread or an Encyclopedia Britannica from 1704, he claims that he was told that Kamala Harris was going to be there. Now, if they both would have been there, that certainly would have been something that would have been fascinating to watch and fascinating to see. Apparently, according to Kamala's side, they told her she couldn't do it via Zoom and she was unable to be there in person. So they decided to bring Donald Trump in there himself. Now, in watching how everything played out, there were a lot of really embarrassing moments for NABJ. The fact that he was constantly insulting the equipment, the fact that he was insulting how everything's put together, he insulted it being late, and last but not least, the absolute disrespectful way in which he dealt with Rachel Scott. However, the walkaway is disastrous for Donald Trump to a point that, did they set him up? I don't want to give NABJ too much credit, being as how they out here blocking folks on social media, but y'all set him up? Cause if y'all did, sincere thanks to everybody who's reached out to me and submitted suggestions for videos. Keep them coming. I take submissions for ideas for a video, suggestions for Racist of the Week. If you have something that just troubles you, or you just want to send me a note, because I love getting those notes, go ahead and shoot me an email at reese@reesewaters.com. I also have a newsletter that I send out periodically, so you'll be receiving that as well. You can also sign up on my website, reesewaters.com.
I'm against race-based reparations because I think it will create more division, not less.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
Welcome to Racist of the Week, where we expose the stupidity and hypocrisy of discrimination in hopes we can build a more perfect union. And also, laugh. As usual, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Racism. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the page, and definitely leave me any possible suggestions for nominees in the comments. Today's nominee, failed GOP presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy. Huh, what's that? You sorry for pressing Van Jones?
And the smug, condescending way that he just spews this poison out is very, very dangerous, because he won't stop Trump, but he's going to outlive Trump by about 50 years. And you're watching the rise of an American demagogue that is a very, very despicable person. Yeah. And I literally was shaking listening to him talk.
A few moments later.
And I'm not going to attribute that to your comment, because whatever it is. But for our family, you know what? Publicly, I didn't do it, but for our family, yeah, it pissed us the heck off, actually. And so the reality is, I don't try to engage in rhetoric that gets other people in danger of bodily harm. But I do think that if somebody's going to, even if you didn't intend to, provoke that kind of ire on my family, yeah, in that week it landed with me.
No, this is not even for that. We wouldn't nominate you for that, but touche. I must say how thrilled I am that this day has finally come upon us, because I've been waiting to honor Vivek with Racist of the Week for a long time.
You took issue with comments from Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. She reportedly said, quote, "We don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. About that, you said, "These are the words of the modern grand wizards of the modern KKK."
Repeatedly now,
referring to Massachusetts Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley and author Ibram Kendi as, quote, grand wizards of the modern KKK. Now, I understand you differ with both of them politically and probably with me. But as a graduate of Harvard and Yale universities, I believe you must be aware the Ku Klux Klan is not a political party. It's a terrorist organization. Historians view the Klan as the driving force behind lynchings of blacks in the American South, more than 4,000 people murdered from 1877 to 1950. And the group is linked to numerous other acts of racial violence continuing through the civil rights movement to the present day. You're running to be the leader of the free world, so your choice of words matter. Have you taken any time to reflect upon the possibility that comparing your political rivals to murderous terrorists might put their lives in danger at a time when hate crimes are on the rise? Or do you just don't care?
Now, those frequent viewers of the channel know that there are two things that really get up under my cocoa butter. One, people that are born on third base think they hit a triple and it's our job to carry them home. People of privilege who use said wealth that they did nothing to attain to look down on and subjugate other people.
I mean, I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, you want to quit? They go on strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike and you say, that's okay, you're all gone. You're all gone. So every one of you is gone and you are the greatest. You would be very good. Oh, you would love it.
The second being racism that comes from non-white people. When people come into this country and feel the need to insert themselves in our long-standing racial family business for the reason of denigrating black people.
Reparations from slavery and black victimization is about to be shoved down our throats for the most wretched holiday in America. BLM raised millions, but what did they do for black lives? It is outrageous to see people asking for reparations, even though they never went through slavery. These ungrateful people should be celebrated because they were born in the greatest nation to ever exist. Here's a tip. If you don't like America, kindly get the fuck out.
Which is something we've covered quite a bit here at Racist of the Week.
We've never been a racist country. I faced racism when I was growing up.
Come again?
We've never been a racist country. I faced racism when I was growing up.
One more time.
We've never been a racist country. I faced racism when I was growing up.
Nikki, I need you to help me with something. There's also this tweet that you posted, as well as your own family history. Your family only immigrated because civil rights leaders reformed America's racist immigration laws in 1965 to allow Asians to immigrate. Her father then taught at an HBCU. Then there's the existence and necessity for HBCUs in the first place, which could also refute your point. Oh, I get it now. Individual people can be racist, but America isn't racist. So those people who discriminated against you were lone wolves, and your family, those were also lone wolves. And black people unable to attend the PWI, lone wolves, the slave owning founding fathers, lone wolves, the Civil War, lone wolves, Jim Crow, lone wolves, Birth of a Nation, lone wolves, redlining, lone wolves, the Southern Strategy, lone wolves, the Indian Removal Act, lone wolves. That's a wolf pack you got there. You know what? We gonna need a name for this wolf pack. Let's call it Sam, Uncle Sam. Well, Vivek decided to give his thoughts on reparations, and he made sure this week would be his week.
So here's my perspective. I was asked about this when I came to the south side of Chicago a year ago, and my position on this has not changed. I'm against race-based reparations because I think it will create more division,
what
not
about
less.
race-based discrimination that occurred in this country for
Yeah, so let me just clarify one aspect. I think there was a time and place for it. in the Reconstruction era. But today, when we actually bring back racial reparations, it actually causes greater discrimination, not more. I think we're seeing a wave, a rise in anti-black and I think other forms of racism in the country. But part of the reason I think we're seeing it is there's no better way to foster racial animus than to take something away from someone based on their skin color.
So no
Have we
more
done that
black
in this
people
country?
justice because it'll make other people upset.
Well, because it's going to create more division and be self-defeating. I think it's actually going to set black Americans back because it will cause, I mean, actually...
But black Americans continue to live in that sense.
I want to move out of
one example.
I want to move out of the middle of this
Yeah,
just because I feel like so let me say this.
Ooh. You know what? Let's take these one at a time.
I'm against race-based reparations.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stop us right there. You are against race-based reparations. What we gonna base it on hair color? Huh? We gonna base it on shoe size? I'm sorry. Was slavery race-based? No, it wasn't. It wasn't the black people. It was the people with high blood pressure. Yeah, everybody who had high blood pressure had to be enslaved. I think it was based on who was eating too much chicken.
I'm against race-based reparations because I think it will create more division, not less.
It would create more division. Wow, you are the greatest judge that a perpetrator could ever ask for. Hey, I'm sorry they stole your car, but no, we can't give it back because it would create division. They would get upset if we asked them to give the car back. So no, we can't. Do you think the theft of labor created division?
Discrimination that occurred in this country for
Yeah, so let me just clarify one aspect. I think there was a time and place for it in the Reconstruction era. But today, when we actually bring back racial reparations, it actually causes greater discrimination, not more.
Ah, okay. So, Andrew Johnson would love that, who was the president who took over for Abraham Lincoln. So you successfully were able to wait us out. Hey, I know that we have no justification to not give reparations now. I'm just going to kick the can down the road till we can find some more arguments to how unwieldy it would become to give reparations. That way, we never have to give it. What's that? I owe you $20. There was a time and place to give you that $20, and that would have been when I got my check a week ago, but giving it to you now would just create more division in my household.
I think we're seeing a wave, a rise in anti-black and I think other forms of racism in the country.
Well, at least we can acknowledge that. In fact, I'm looking at some.
I think we're seeing a wave, a rise in anti-black and I think other forms of racism in the country. But part of the reason I think we're seeing it is there's no better way to foster racial animus than to take something away from someone based on their skin color.
Part of the reason we are seeing a rise in anti-black racism and racial animus is because of taking something away because of their skin color. What did we take away? What did we, because the reparations actually ain't happened yet. So I'm just curious, did some of us get some reparations? And that's what caused the rise in anti-black racism? I'm confused as to exactly what has been taken away. I'll tell you what was taken away: generational wealth from us. And I like how all of this racial animus at things being taken away is squarely aimed at black people. You ain't thinking about the animus that might come from generations of taking things away and not giving what was owed. Oh, that animus don't matter.
So no more black people justice because it'll make other people upset.
Well, because it's going to create more division and be self-defeating. I think it's actually going to set black Americans back.
Oh, boy. Before I make decisions for myself and my people, I always ask Vivek Ramaswamy. Yeah, I always ask Vivek Ramaswamy, what is best for me? Because he knows what is best, not only for me, but for all black people. I don't know if y'all knew this, but black people, before we decide what is best for us, we ask Vivek.
Because it's going to create more division and be self-defeating. I think it's actually going to set black Americans back.
That's funny, because when it comes to corporations having gifts bestowed upon them or not paying their fair share of taxes, the idea is always that that would just trickle down to the rest of the people. Oh no, you don't have to worry about it. It's going to boost the economy. Funny how that doesn't work for black people though. Hold on, I just gotta send a quick email. I will not be paying my mortgage any longer because that would ultimately be self-defeating to the bank.
Because it will cause, I mean, actually.
But black Americans continue to live in that South.
I want to move out of the middle of this.
Yeah.
He stood there for a long time, being in the frame for the reparations conversation. I can say that right now. He stood there much longer than I would have been able to, that's for sure. Now, one thing I have been doing recently is trying to put something positive at the end of Racist of the Week. And this week will be no different because I have such a litany of things to choose from. Here, I would like to give a shout out to Maxwell Frost, Congressman from Florida, and the first representative we've had in this country from Gen Z.
You asked multiple questions.
I did not ask him a question.
You certainly did. You said, did you see this?
Time has expired. Gentlelady's time's expired. Chair now recognizes Mr. Frost from Florida.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I get into it, it's interesting to hear my colleague just now talk about disavowing white supremacists when in 2022, she spoke at an event led by white supremacist and white nationalist Nick Fuentes, and when asked about it, doubled down on it and said, we're going to focus on people, not labels. So get out of here with that damn hypocrisy.
Who laid it down at the DNC and asked some questions that I myself have wanted answered.
This election is about every drop of water that we consume and every breath we breathe. Fighting the climate crisis is patriotic. And unlike Donald Trump, our patriotism is more than some damn slogan on a hat. It's about actually giving a damn about the people who live in this country. Because when you love somebody, you want them to have clean air. When you love somebody, you want them to have safe drinking water. And when you love somebody, you want them to have a dignified job. And so, America, it's simple. Let's get to work and elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz for our planet, for our future, for our present, and for our people. God bless.
Very well done, Maxwell Frost. Congratulations to you, sir. But special congratulations to Vivek Ramaswamy.
I still would not have voted for you because you're an Indian.
You are our Racist of the Week. And don't worry, we'll be back here again. Sincere thanks to everybody who's reached out to me and submitted suggestions for videos. Keep them coming. I take submissions for ideas for a video, suggestions for Racist of the Week. If you have something that just troubles you, or you just want to send me a note, because I love getting those notes, go ahead and shoot me an email at reesewaters.com. I also have a newsletter that I send out periodically, so you'll be receiving that as well. You can also sign up on my website, reesewaters.com.
All I do is I stood there and I said, if you'd like to have a picture, we can have a picture. If somebody did it, this was a setup by the people in the administration that, oh, Trump is coming to Arlington, that looks so bad for us.
Bullshit. Straight up bullshit.
Hi, my name is Reese Waters and I'm troubled. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Y'all saw it. But it's not so much what happened, it's the reaction that troubles me. Y'all really didn't see this coming?
Yeah, I mean, the rules are simple. It is that, number one, there is no allowance. You are never allowed to have a campaign event or any kind of campaign partisan event that happens on Arlington National Cemetery grounds. It's simply not allowed. Now, this is where this got a little bit gray, Katie, and that is the fact that former President Trump was invited to this wreath-laying event by the families of several of the service members who were killed at Abbey Gate 3 years ago. And he was there in his capacity as the former president of the United States. Now, for that reason, he was allowed to be there to participate with the families in the memorial event. He was allowed to have official photographers and videographers at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. That's actually pretty common. There's frequent media coverage there. You frequently see video and photos of that. That part was not at issue here. After that event, though, Katie, they moved on to Section 60, the motorcade, and several of the family members of those fallen service members, and that's where this incident occurred. Now, the rules are very clear. You are not allowed to have videographers or photographers at Section 60 collecting any kind of images, but not just that. You cannot anything that anyone does there, whether it's the staff or former President Trump, none of the video or content that they collect is allowed to then be used in the capacity of his campaign. Though that's also very clearly written into the rules. But the issue here, though, is that's very difficult to enforce at the time. So what we've learned in the last 48 hours or so is that was where this incident occurred. When some of the staff from the Trump got out of the Trump motorcade to take photos and videos, one of the Trump staff members, when he was confronted by the Arlington National Cemetery employee telling them that they could not take photos and videos, the staff member then pushed that Arlington Cemetery employee.
Yeah, as if this whole thing wasn't pathetic enough, they assaulted Arlington National Cemetery employee and went ahead and did it anyway, because that's what Trump does. When he's told no, that's against the rules, he says, I don't care, and he does it anyway. So it was two men from Donald Trump's campaign staff that had the verbal and physical altercation with the Arlington National Cemetery staff member. A source with knowledge of the incident said the cemetery official tried to prevent Trump staffers from filming and photographing in a section where recent U.S. casualties were buried. The source said Arlington officials had made clear that only cemetery staff members would be authorized to take photographs or film in the area known as Section 60. So Stephen Chung from Trump's campaign strongly rejected the notion of a physical altercation, saying that we are prepared to release footage if such defamatory claims are made. The fact is that a private photographer was permitted on the premises, and for whatever reason, an unnamed individual, clearly suffering from a mental health episode, decided to physically block members of President Trump's team during a very solemn ceremony. Trump's campaign declined to make the footage available.
And if you're wondering, and I know you were, this was the result. This was the sum total of angering all of America's veterans.
We lost 13 great people. What a horrible day it was. We didn't lose one person in 18 months. And then they took over that disaster, the leaving of Afghanistan.
Oh, no, wait. It gets worse.
The cemetery says they're not going to release any more information because they do want to protect the identity of the individual involved.
And if you needed a reminder of why all that was necessary, well, she might be exaggerating. Maybe she's just a little bit shy. Here's a refresher.
Now, Trump lied in an attempt to score some crude campaign points in a context that ought to be completely beyond crude politics. His partisans got rough with a civil servant who got in their way, and that civil servant ultimately dropped her complaint for fears of retribution. Does that sound familiar? Does it sound a little like the story of Alexander Vindman, the soldier and National Security Council staffer who blew the whistle on Trump's attempts to extort Ukraine for dirt on Joe Biden? Or maybe it reminds you of Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss, the Georgia election officials whose lives were threatened after Trump falsely accused them of rigging votes. Or maybe it reminds you of the threats against the women who have accused Trump of sexual assault, and all the public officials who have prosecuted or sued him, and all the judges who have ruled against him, and all the elections officials who refused to break the rules or falsify votes for him, and all the Republicans who voted to impeach him. In each of those cases, Trump has gotten away with intimidation, mafia-style gangster threats because rank-and-file Republicans let him, or in many cases just straight up help him. Using government power to make their partisan politics a sort of official state religion, and bullying anyone who gets in their way.
Well, certainly he would never be dumb enough to admit to such tactics. I mean, they can't be tied to him directly.
In the last year, I think I had 9 indictments, far more than Alphonse Capone, who was quite well known in Chicago and the environs. He liked killing people, but he had nothing like me.
Well, that looks bad. I'll admit that looks bad, but I mean, he hasn't actually gone out and attacked those people.
Those incredible parents and sisters and brothers, they asked me to go yesterday to Arlington, and I did. And while I was there for a long time. It was very tough to get to because I was not in a good position to get there. It was very far away, but I did. I made it and I got there right on time. And I spent a lot of time there. And while I was there, those families that asked me to be there, they said, 3 families plus 1 soldier who was horrifically injured, both legs and an arm. And they asked me if I would be there, so I went. And while we were there, they said, could you take pictures over the grave of my son, my sister, my brother? Would you take pictures with us, sir? I said, absolutely, I did. And then I said farewell. I said goodbye. And last night I read that I was using the site to politic, that I used it to politic. This all comes out of Washington, just like all of these prosecutors come out of Washington. They all come out, they send their prosecutors into the DA's office, they send them into the Attorney General's office. These are bad people we're dealing with.
So, if you're scoring at home, this fool got caught breaking the rules, using Arlington Cemetery for a campaign video. One of their workers was assaulted, needed to go into hiding for fear of reprisal, talking about Al Capone, and then calls them very bad people. This could not possibly get, actually it could. It could be worse.
Should your campaign have put out those videos and photos?
Well, we have a lot of people. You know, we have people, TikTok people, you know, we're leading the internet. That was the other thing. We're so far above her on the internet.
But on that hallowed ground, should they have put out the images of those?
I don't know what the rules and regulations are. I don't know who did it. And it could have been them. It could have been the parents. It could have been somebody.
It was your campaign's TikTok, though, that put out the video.
I really don't know anything about it. All I do is I stood there and I said, if you'd like to have a picture, we can have a picture. If somebody did it, this was a setup by the people in the administration that, oh, Trump is coming to Arlington. That looks so bad for us.
Wait. Trump is now saying that his campaign's photo op was a setup?
I learned at the age of 7 that it is necessary to get your lies straight. You cannot simultaneously claim that it was a setup from the Democrats, the Harris-Biden campaign, and also that it was an honest mistake. Both of those things can't be true. No, sweetheart, I didn't get any of your phone calls or texts. See, I lost my phone earlier today. You know what? Hold on a second. I got to take a phone call. That would be as dumb as claiming that Kamala Harris doesn't know how the economy works while simultaneously trying to tie her to Biden's economic policy.
When it comes to our economy, Kamala Harris doesn't even know how it works. She never has.
Guess what? It gets worse since there's nothing MAGA won't fundraise on, you know, like natural disasters, international tragedies, B6, Beetlejuice.
That's delivered to my office. I'm titling it Over Off Broadway.
Utah's governor got caught sending out a fundraising email connected to Trump's appearance at Arlington National Cemetery. Try and explain that one. And no, not you, Maggie Haberman. I do not want to hear from Maggie Haberman or Katie Tur or Megyn Kelly or cat turd or any of Trump's other sycophants in the media. And yes, I put you all in the same category. You know who I actually want to hear from though? You know who I want to hear from? I want to hear from Meghan McCain. Yeah, I want to hear from Meghan McCain because she always so protective of veterans. So she's somebody that I especially want to hear from at a time like this. She's been so quiet. I mean, why? And she always has so much to say about the veterans. I mean, she had something to say about the interview. She better say something because these veterans aren't having it.
So, none of y'all know this, but my last 2 years, I was the operations sergeant at the Provost Marshal's office on Fort McNair in D.C. I was responsible for security at wreath-laying ceremonies at Arlington. There were about one a month, give or take. At least one a month, I would say. A lot of foreign dignitaries would come and show their respects. And the two-star from MDW, Military District of Washington, would attend and join them in that solemn event. One thing I never saw from any of those foreign dignitaries was a thumbs up. A solemn event and a solemn and sacred ground is not the place for a thumbs up. It's not the place for a photo opportunity. So the fact that Donald Trump went there for a photo opportunity is truly disgusting. Donald Trump is truly disgusting. It's just another case of him crapping on veterans. And if you don't see that, well, then you're part of the problem. Donald Trump is such a horrible person, and I just can't stand to look at his face and hear his name, but people need to know what a piece of dirt he is.
So Donald Trump did one of the most despicable things I think he's ever done since I've known of him, and that's saying something. Donald Trump decided to visit Arlington National Cemetery. Now, as an American citizen, he can go. He's more than welcome to. But he went to a grave of one of the 13 service members that were killed on the raid or on the evacuation and leaving of Afghanistan. The reason I say it's one of the most despicable things I've ever seen is because Donald Trump is directly responsible for that service member dying. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you think I was going to say Biden? No. See, Donald Trump screwed that up from moment one. We had a government installed in Afghanistan. We did. But Donald Trump did negotiate with the Afghan government. He negotiated with the Taliban. You remember the people that we had been fighting all this time in that country? What the fuck, did y'all think we were only fighting Al-Qaeda? Who was protecting Al-Qaeda? The Taliban. He negotiated directly with them. Directly. Did not even have the Afghan government at the table. Oh, I'm sorry. And I have to keep reminding you of this. He wanted to meet with the Taliban at Camp David on September 11th.
Hello, my name is David Lucier, and I'm a U.S. Army Special Forces Vietnam combat veteran with civilian service in both Iraq and Afghanistan. I'm also an honored member of the Arizona Veterans Hall of Fame. You know, as a veteran, I am outraged, insulted, offended, once again, by Trump's behavior, particularly at Arlington National Cemetery. This is an outrage. You know, a few weeks ago, I experienced an unprovoked attack by a Trump supporter. My veteran status was clear as day. But when it was all over, he limped away with blood running down his face. Join me. Vote blue all the way through. Let's make sure that Trump, the convicted felon, the draft dodger, the fellow who's been deemed guilty of assault, we cannot let him anywhere near the White House ever again. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies. Good morning, gentlemen. I'm going to be quite measured on what I have to say this morning because my insides are just boiling. Most of you know that I took my 7th trip to Washington, D.C. in July to visit the wall. My second stop on that trip is always Arlington National Cemetery, because that is where heroes are laid to rest. I wake up this morning and I find that the giggling gonad, Petey the Pimp, the Duke of Dysentery, was at Arlington to honor the slain in Afghanistan. I can't even tell you how sick that makes me to my stomach. The person who took 5 deferments for bone spurs, standing at the grave of heroes to make a point. He did this because all of a sudden he knew that he stepped on his dick when he was talking about the Medal of Honor being the same as the Presidential Medal of Freedom. We know that was bullshit. But here's something maybe you don't know. That Donald Trump currently, at this moment, is suing the VA in Michigan. Why? Because the VA in Michigan wants to open up polling places to make it easier for veterans to vote. Because of all the gerrymandering and the redlining that has gone on in the state of Michigan, Trump doesn't want that. So he's suing the VA of Michigan. All this bullshit about how much he loves and appreciates soldiers and their service is all bullshit. Straight up.
Okay, stop. Let's stop right there, because he mentioned a few things. Disrespecting soldiers with Congressional Medal of Honor, which, by the way, was just a few weeks ago.
I always say there are 2 awards, is the Medal of Honor, and oftentimes is posthumously where, they're not there. Oftentimes they've died in battle and they're getting the award. And then you have the civilian version, the Presidential Medal. And I always say I'd rather get the Presidential Medal because the guys that came in, other than you and a few others, oftentimes they've suffered greatly, right? They've suffered greatly, or they're not around.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. That was him repeating the same thing this week, doubling down on his screw up.
I have to say, Miriam, I watched Sheldon sitting so proud in the White House when we gave Miriam the Presidential Medal of Freedom. That's the highest award you can get as a civilian. It's the equivalent of the Congressional Medal of Honor, but civilian version. It's actually much better because everyone gets the Congressional Medal of Honor. That's soldiers. They're either in very bad shape because they've been hit so many times by bullets, or they're dead. She gets it, and she's a healthy, beautiful woman. It's right. And they're rated equal.
Yeah, that's how much he cares about your feelings. Now, he also mentioned not only Congressional Medal of Honor screw up, he also mentioned him suing the VA in Michigan. And that is exactly where I land with this, because a man like Donald Trump disrespecting the military, I have to ask, what made you think he was going to respect the military? I need to know. I need to know what in his 80 years made you think he was going to respect the military. Mr. Bone Spurs, who's still greenlit challenging Tim Wall's record? That guy you think would respect the military? The man who doesn't respect women, he doesn't respect black people, he doesn't respect Latinos, he doesn't respect journalists, he don't respect doctors, he don't respect scientists, he don't respect the disabled, he don't respect children, he don't respect diplomats, he don't respect football players, he don't even respect his own hair. You thought this man was going to respect the military, after he reportedly referred to 1,800 Marines who lost their lives as suckers.
And he told me, he said, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
And then supposedly asked who were the good guys in this war, which is believable because we know how extensive his knowledge of world events is.
The Continental Army suffered a bitter winter of Valley Forge, found glory across the waters of the Delaware, and seized victory from Cornwallis of Yorktown. Our Army manned the airport. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do. And at Fort McHenry, under the rocket's red glare, it had nothing but victory. And when dawn came, their star-spangled banner waved defiant. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
You thought he was going to respect the military after he reportedly aborted a visit to another World War I cemetery, blaming the weather, saying, "Why should I go? It's filled with losers."
You're the sucker. You're the loser.
Then said the presence of maimed veterans would upset spectators because, quote, "nobody wants to see that." Then there was Memorial Day 2017, where he was standing over the grave of First Lieutenant Robert Kelly, the son of then Homeland Security Secretary and later Chief of Staff John Kelly, and said, quote, "I don't get it. What's in it for them?" And let's not forget the disrespect he had for John McCain, another reason Meghan McCain, you might want to weigh in, saying, quote, "My heroes are the ones that weren't captured." Oh, that wasn't reported. We actually have video of that one.
He insulted everybody in that room. And I said, somebody should run against John McCain, who has been, in my opinion, not so hot. And I supported him. I supported him for president. I raised $1 million for him. It's a lot of money. I supported him. He lost. He let us down. But, he lost. So I never liked him as much after that, because I don't like losers. But Frank, let me get to it. He hit me. He's not a war hero.
He's a war hero.
He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
Do you agree with that?
I need to know why any of y'all expected this man to respect the military. He don't respect nothing. That's why we voting blue. That's on y'all. That's on y'all. That's on y'all. That Trump didn't turn disrespectful. That Trump turned Donald. This would be as crazy as inviting Corey Lewandowski on your show and expected an honest conversation that wasn't sourced with garbage from the internet.
I'm going to respond to you on live air. I quoted a New York Times article that said, at the convention, Donald Trump was his own biggest prop. It was a New York Times quote about how he had become such an important figure in rebounding from what was a horrific assassination attempt. Fox News, which Corey, I said I'd address it. I'm going to finish. Fox News, many viewers may not know about this, but apparently you do, and some do. Fox News, which has been caught in defamation, ran a false piece, falsely stating that I said something else that I didn't say. So I stand on that. I stand on the New York Times
So you
quote.
didn't say this bandage was a prop, a spectacle from a candidate who was obsessed with spectacles.
Mr. Lewandowski, I did not say that. That is a false quote.
Right here.
And
it's clear.
What you have is a false quote.
What
you have is a false quote. And I'm putting you on notice. If you continue to repeat falsely that I said that, you will be potentially in a defamation situation because I didn't say that. But I understand that you're working off the internet, which is a lot of false information.
This is what it says.
I wish you
right
luck
here.
with that. And Corey Lewandowski, we gave you time.
So you
I
would
appreciate you
apologize
coming
to the
on.
president for that.
Thank you for joining me.
MAGA, I don't want to see those tears. Stiffen up that lip. This is the man y'all chose to get behind. So sit there and eat your unpatriotic, disrespectful, cowardly food. And by all means, do not tell me you're surprised. Sincere thanks to everybody who's reached out to me and submitted suggestions for videos. Keep them coming. I take submissions for ideas for a video, suggestions for Racist of the Week. If you have something that just troubles you, or you just want to send me a note, because I love getting those notes, go ahead and shoot me an email at reese@reesewaters.com. I also have a newsletter that I send out periodically, so you'll be receiving that as well. You can also sign up on my website, reesewaters.com.
For example, extending the child tax credit
to $6,000 for families for the first year of their child's life to help them buy a car seat, to help them buy baby clothes, a crib. There's the work that we're going to do that is about investing in the American family around affordable housing, a big issue in our country right now.
Meanwhile, wind, they want wind all over the place. But when it doesn't blow, we have a little problem.
Welcome to Street Politics. My name is Reese Waters. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Well, it finally happened.
And the American media needs to do its job and ask tough questions. But of course, she's not submitting for any of those, Kaylee. She's hiding. She's trying to run a campaign in a basement like her mentor Joe Biden did.
No, that can't be right. No, because this was after the interview happened. So why would he say that after the interview? That doesn't make any. That doesn't. I mean, she left that and immediately went to a campaign rally.
So, Savannah, are you ready to make your voices heard? Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in opportunity? Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we ready to fight for it? The United States.
In fact, the campaign rally that she went to after the interview is literally in the box next to Mike Johnson.
So our job is to make sure that the people know it. And the American media needs to do its job and ask tough questions. But of course, she's not submitting for any of those, Kaylee. She's hiding. She's trying to run a campaign in a basement like her mentor Joe Biden did.
They really do think their viewers are idiots. Well, it finally happened. What? Why did she bring Tim Walz? I don't know. Maybe tradition?
Her handlers don't even trust her to survive a softball CNN interview. So Coach Walz is going to chaperone tomorrow night at 9.
Mr. President, Senator, I don't know what we have to talk about. It's been pretty boring.
They really do think their viewers are idiots. Well, it finally happened. Kamala Harris gave her first sit-down interview to CNN's Dana Bash, where she addressed what's been on the hearts and minds of so many Americans. Are you black?
I want to ask you about your opponent, Donald Trump. Okay. I was a little bit surprised. People might be surprised to hear that you have never interacted with him, met him face to face. That's going to change soon. But what I want to ask you about is what he said last month. He suggested that you happened to turn black recently for political purposes, questioning a core part of your identity.
Yeah. Any same old tired playbook. Next question, please.
That's it?
That's it.
I was just playing. That was well played, though, Kamala. That was very well played. See, she's saving that smoke for the debate. I see you. I see you. One thing I have learned. Don't think because I didn't drag you now means I won't drag you later. She hit day one.
Day one, it's going to be about, one, implementing my plan for what I call an opportunity economy. I've already laid out a number of proposals in that regard, which include what we're going to do to bring down the cost of everyday goods, what we're going to do to invest in America's small businesses, what we're going to do to invest in families, for example, extending the child tax credit to $6,000 for families for the first year of their child's life to help them buy a car seat, to help them buy baby clothes, a crib. There's the work that we're going to do that is about investing in the American family around affordable housing, a big issue in our country right now. So there are a number of things on day one.
She hit the pandemic.
Well, let's start with the fact that when Joe Biden and I came in office, during the height of a pandemic, we saw over 10 million jobs were lost. People, I mean, literally, we were all tracking the numbers. Hundreds of people a day were dying because of COVID. The economy had crashed. In large part, all of that because of mismanagement by Donald Trump of that crisis.
And she hit a few things that I personally have been annoyed that Democrats haven't hit harder. thinking that she's weak on the economy.
When we came in, our highest priority was to do what we could to rescue America. And today, we know that we have inflation at under 3%. A lot of our policies have led to the reality that America recovered faster than any wealthy nation around the world. But you are right. Prices, in particular for groceries, are still too high. The American people know it, I know it. Which is why my agenda includes what we need to do to bring down the price of groceries. For example, dealing with an issue like price gouging. What we need to do to extend the child tax credit to help young families be able to take care of their children in their most formative years. What we need to do to bring down the cost of housing. My proposal includes what would be a tax credit of $25,000 for first-time home buyers, so they can just have enough to put a down payment on a home, which is part of the American dream and their aspiration, but do it in a way that allows them to actually get on the path to achieving that goal and that dream.
And then there is the issue of the border. See, I'm old enough to remember when you have been verified to be responsible for tanking a border bill, you don't then also get to accuse your opponent of screwing up the situation on the ground.
I will say this, that Joe Biden and I and our administration worked with members of the United States Congress on an immigration issue that is very significant to the American people and to our security, which is the border. And through bipartisan work, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, a bill was crafted, which we supported, which I support. And Donald Trump got word of this bill that would have contributed to securing our border. And because he believes that it would not have helped him politically, he told his folks in Congress, don't put it forward. He killed the bill. A border security bill that would have put 1,500 more agents on the border. And let me tell you something, the Border Patrol endorsed the bill. And I'm sure in large part because they knew they were working around the clock and 1,500 more agents would help them. That bill would have allowed us to increase seizures of fentanyl. Ask any community in America that has been devastated by fentanyl what passing that bill would have done to address their concern and a pain that they've experienced.
So you would push that legislation again. I just want to ask
Not only push it, I will make sure that it comes to my desk and I would sign it.
And last but certainly not least, character. No, New York Times. I mean character like integrity and honesty, not are you a character from a bad 1940s era political thriller.
When I look at the aspirations, the goals, the ambitions of the American people, I think that people are ready for a new way forward in a way that generations of Americans have been fueled by hope and by optimism. I think, sadly, in the last decade, we have had in the former president someone who has really been pushing an agenda and an environment that is about diminishing the character and the strength of who we are as Americans, really dividing our nation, and I think people are ready to turn the page on that.
VP nominee Tim Walz was there as well to stand on business involving his record and his son.
Governor, a moment that you shared, that the world shared with your son, Gus. You were speaking, the camera caught him, so incredibly proud of you, so emotional, saying, that's my dad.
Yeah, I don't know as a father I could have ever imagined that. I'm grateful for so many reasons to be on this ticket, but that moment, to understand what was really important, to have my son feel a sense of pride in me, that I was trying to do the right thing. And it was, you try and protect your kids, it brings notoriety and things, but it was just such a visceral, emotional moment that I'm grateful I got to experience it, and I'm so proud of him. I'm proud of him, I'm proud of Hope, I'm proud of Gwen. She's a wonderful mother, and these are great kids. And I think the one thing is, talking about the era we're in, is our politics can be better. It can be different. We can we can show some of these things and we can have families involved in this. And I hope that there was I hope people felt that out there, and I hope they hug their kids a little tighter, because you just never know, and life can be kind of hard.
I, for one, am inspired by the relationship he has with his kids. I consider it goals, and I made a whole video about it. Now, some things were left unaddressed. And then there was this moment right here.
Fact, Dana, excuse me. Fact, Dana, excuse me.
Now imagine that, the juxtaposition of immediately correcting yourself for honestly mispronouncing somebody's name when your name has been intentionally butchered by the other side in the laziest, sloppiest dog whistle we have seen since, I don't know, welfare queens? I mean, Clancy Moose went on this same network.
So pronounce her name right.
Let me actually
pronounce her name right.
Kamala Harris, if
Kamala.
I were a man,
You said we don't call you Nancy Pelosi.
And then had the nerve to say,
he can go toe-to-toe with her on women's issues. I feel very confident about that.
once again asserting the rights and their advocacy for women, leaving us nowhere to go with her disrespect but the obvious.
That's the history and legacy of white disregard for the humanity of black people.
So now you're calling me a racist.
Give them enough rope, they always do it. Now, speaking of women, some people were not here for Dana Bash. Now, I'll say this. It was a tough interview, and yes, she echoed a ton of Trump talking points, but I'm not going to jump out the window on her just yet, because there's a possibility that this was the kind of interview that the Harris-Walz campaign wanted. Maybe they wanted to respond to those questions and the right-wing talking points about her and her record. It's a possibility. However, at the same time that Kamala Harris was responding to these attacks, Trump, meanwhile...
So now she doesn't talk about it. Do you notice she doesn't talk about climate change anymore? She's not talking about it. You know why? Because people don't want to hear it. They want to live a good life. They want to live a life. They don't want to stop your industry with climate change. They used to call it different things, global warming. Remember, that wasn't working because it was getting a little bit cooler. So they said, what are we going to do? We'll call it global cooling. No. So they came up with the words climate change. You take a look at bacon and some of these products, and some people don't eat bacon anymore. And we are going to get the energy prices down. When we get energy down, you know, this was caused by their horrible energy wind. They want wind all over the place. But when it doesn't blow, we have a little problem.
So the lady I just heard being grilled, she running against the dude talking about the bacon and the wind?
Because the jobs that are, the people that are coming in are just taken. And it's going to start with the black population. African Americans are losing their jobs. And I don't know if you heard the latest statistic that of the jobs that these people created, which is very little, every single job was taken, about 107%, was taken by illegal immigrants. There's been no job creation from them.
107. So, wow, that means this job, so I must be illegal, and also a job I haven't even created yet.
Well, do we have a president? He just got back from California. He was supposed to go to the White House. He never got there. He went to Delaware, and he's laying on a beach sleeping all day long. No, seriously, who the hell wants to sleep? And who wants to sleep in public? He's sleeping.
I've only seen one person sleep in public recently.
Well, it's not going to work. And with that,
I yield back.
You know, every so often, Mr. Garcia, maybe you could just lift up that picture of our President Trump sleeping. As you say, I think he's praying.
Thank you. Great job. What a beautiful young daughter. What a beautiful young daughter.
Run! Run! Get to the chopper! No, I said the chopper, not the plane. Because we know where that plane has been.
Nobody really knows her. They were doing something, the man on the street, they said, you know Harris? Everyone's saying, who the hell is Harris? Nobody knows who Harris is. What's the vice president's name? They have no idea what the name is. Now, the name Kamala it's a little complex because there's about 19 different ways of pronouncing it, right? But Kamala is, at least it's a name you sort of remember. You can't use Harris because nobody knows who the hell Harris is. Who's Harris? We want somebody they know, and, you know, one of the reasons they don't know, she did a lousy job.
You know, they actually have a program to help you with that now. And yes, it's taught by children.
First you say comma like a comma in a sentence. Then you say la like la 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 la.
Put it together, and it's 1, 2, 3, Kamala.
In the last year, I think I had 9 indictments, far more than Alphonse Capone, who was quite well known in Chicago and the environs. He liked killing people, but he had nothing like me.
Wait, so we really just gonna nitpick the one lady? He talking about Al Capone, and that's when he not talking about Hannibal Lecter.
You get a lot of those questions because Minnesota, I mean, they picked this guy. He is weird. Right? He's weird. I'm not weird. He's weird. No, he's a weird guy. He's a weird dude.
Now, this was just sad on a number of fronts. For one, Trump, you realize that you only here to be brash and insulting. You realize that, right? You realize they like you because you are a bull in a china shop of all things respectful. That is why they like you. If you just gonna get lazy with your insults, that's not going to do it. That's not going to do it. You are being held to a higher standard of offense. Also, it looks like he inadvertently gave up the game. The fact that pretty much I know you are, but what am I has been their response to all things substantive. You passed Veterans Choice, I claim I passed Veterans Choice. You have the lowest ever black unemployment, I claim I had the lowest ever black unemployment. Now it's starting to make sense. He crashing and burning. Somebody need to take his microphone.
That's no good. And we're not going to let it happen. They can build their plant. They're not going to have any cars coming into this country. If they want to build a plant, they can. They're going to build.
Well, you tried. I mean, small victories. At least he didn't draw attention to J.D. Vance.
You know, see, they come up with sound bites. They always have sound bites. And one of the things is that J.D. and I are weird. That guy is so straight. J.D. he's doing a great job, smart.
Oh, you mean this J.D. Vance?
You on Twitter posted a clip from a Miss Teen USA beauty pageant from 2007, Caitlin Upton, and you wrote, "I have gotten a hold of the full Kamala Harris CNN interview." Now, this thing that surfaced around the internet for a few years, she struggled answering a question back in this beauty pageant. I'm not sure you're aware, in 2015, Caitlin Upton did an interview with New York Magazine about all the social media attention this clip got, and she said, "I definitely went through a period where I was very, very depressed, but I never let anybody see that stuff except for people I could trust. I had some very dark moments where I thought about committing."
Yeah, that is solid. That is solid to help you with the women. And that is not weird, because who doesn't still use that clip on the regular to insult men?
He can go toe-to-toe with her on women's issues. I feel very confident about that.
Thank you. Great job. What a beautiful young daughter. What a beautiful young daughter.
All right, media, I'm going to need to holler at y'all real quick.
When it comes to our economy, Kamala Harris doesn't even know how it works. She never has. She wants the government to take over the economy.
Wait, but didn't y'all just say that she was responsible for Biden's economy? You can't say both.
So this was a terrible week. She got no bounce out of the convention.
That's not true.
She's no bounce.
She got a 4-point bounce, and
No
she's
bounce.
in Georgia today campaigning.
Okay, she got no bounce,
Oh,
Jessica.
no bounce.
Look at the polls.
Okay.
And
I
she's
do
now
look at the
down
polls.
in all the battleground
That's not
states.
true.
Real clear. Check it out.
Okay.
Right now, in the break, I'll prove you wrong.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Good evening. Welcome to Washington. I'm Brett Baer. With fewer than 70 days until the presidential election, we are releasing new Fox polls from key Sun Belt states, and it's anyone's ball game, as you can see right here.
You know what, Fox News, get out. Get out. All the rest of the media, other than Fox News, let me holler at y'all real quick. Now, I let Dana Bash slide because I don't know what the conversations were before this interview about whether or not this was what they wanted. But this double standard where we are nitpicking each and everything that Kamala Harris has to say and trying to find holes to exploit for the right, while this guy is meandering on about bacon, Al Capone, and wind, needs to end immediately. There is no way he would have been able to sit there and deal with the grilling that she just dealt with from Dana Bash. There's no way.
Nobody believes that. And I just think at some point, then why isn't he running?
Because he's too old, point blank. Same reason why Donald Trump probably shouldn't be running.
That's the kind of honesty I'm going to need from y'all from here on out.
Administration, they won't even know what's happening. They'll take every single job. You're not going to have any auto workers within 2 years, maybe 3 years. Nobody's going to be making cars here.
That message, however, getting mixed reviews at a pit stop in Boston, where Senator J.D. Vance got booed at the International Association of Firefighters convention.
I want to talk about why we're fighting for working people, why we're going to fight for unions.
Governor Tim Walz received a standing ovation at the same event on Wednesday.
Now, Fox News, that's better. That is better. We got to work on baby steps. Baby steps. I'm gonna need 50 jumping jacks, 100 push-ups, and 10 honest reports every morning. Okay, that's before breakfast. Sincere thanks to everybody who's reached out to me and submitted suggestions for videos. Keep them coming. I take submissions for ideas for a video, suggestions for Racist of the Week. If you have something that just troubles you, or you just want to send me a note, because I love getting those notes, go ahead and shoot me an email at reese@reesewaters.com. I also have a newsletter that I send out periodically, so you'll be receiving that as well. You can also sign up on my website, reesewaters.com. Welcome to Racist of the Week. My name is Reese Waters. This is where we expose the stupidity and hypocrisy of discrimination in hopes we can build a more perfect union. And also laugh. As usual, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Racism. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the page, and definitely leave me any possible suggestions for nominees in the comments, or you can email me at reese.waters@gmail.com. Today's nominee, Arthur Grand Technologies. The Loudoun County, Virginia-based tech company has been fined $7,500 by the Department of Justice after it advertised it was seeking white candidates for an open job posting. The infamous white jobs. We heard about the black jobs, and we heard about the Spanish jobs, the Latino jobs. Now we get the white jobs. I guess they're in the tech sector. And I would have guessed that. Well, they wouldn't have been my first guess. First, I'd have guessed up rounding up black people and brown people. That's definitely a white job. Taking people's rights and or land, that is definitely a white job. And of course, Hobby Lobby. But number 4, apparently, is working for Arthur Grand Technologies. Now, the company must also pay $35,000 in compensation to applicants as part of a settlement with the Department of Justice. Now, let's first take a look at the actual ad which became public. Let's take a look at this. Let's see. Looking for U.S. born citizens, white, who are local within 60 miles from Dallas, Texas. And then we get a don't share with candidates. Okay, so it's apparent that these were supposed to be deleted. They just copied and pasted from the form letter. And I got to ask, where did this form come from? Is this from the Sons of Anarchy Employment Services? I need to know exactly where this was copied and pasted from. This is like the Patriot Front. Is this Proud Boys Job Recruiters? I need to understand. PatriotFrontMonster.com. I need to understand where this was copied and pasted from. And I can't imagine a worse case scenario of accidentally leaving in the sections that you were supposed to fill in. I would also like to point out what a liability it is that they included don't share with candidates. Just in case you were wondering exactly how dirty this was supposed to be, don't share it with the candidates. Oh yeah, no, we're gonna absolve ourselves of any deniability. Yeah, we can't deny that at all. It literally says don't share with candidates. DOJ's Civil Rights Division's Immigrant and Employee Rights Section opened an investigation in May of last year and determined that Arthur Grand discriminated based on citizenship status and national origin after a recruiter working for Arthur Grand's subsidiary in India posted the advertisement on the job website Indeed. This happened in India. Oh, so you outsourced your racism? Is that what you just did? You just outsourced your racism. So the person in India was the one that was supposed to not include that they were searching for white applicants only. I got to give a shout out to that whistleblower. Because it's somebody out. That's what I think. I think it was a whistleblower. I think it was a whistleblower situation and not an honest mistake. Because somebody in India is like, wait a minute. You mean to tell me that the folks that have had their foot on everybody else's neck all around the world now want me to post a job posting excluding all of us? All right, I'll handle that. I know what we gonna do. Now, as part of a Justice Department settlement, Arthur Grand will pay a civil penalty and will train its personnel on the INA's requirements, revise its employment policies, and be subject to departmental monitoring. Now, I applaud the departmental monitoring and revising their policies, but what training personnel needs? I don't know what training. Don't put white candidates on the job description. What training is going to work? Now, Arthur Grand must also pay compensation to those who file complaints with the Office of Federal Contract Compliance Programs. So if any of y'all brothers and sisters out there looking for a check, go ahead and file a complaint. Now, here we have the Department of Justice cracking down on a white-only job description while the specter of Project 2025 hangs over us, where they will be looking to prosecute anybody who's actively trying to diversify their workforce. So let me get this straight. People that are trying to work to correct folks like this are the ones that are going to be prosecuted under the new administration should Trump win. Keep your eyes open. Now, even when this discrimination isn't overt, we still have cases like that of Dwight Jackson, the 27-year-old Michigan man who, after applying for various positions at Detroit's upscale Shinola Hotel, was rejected. Now, despite an impressive resume spanning multiple hotels, he expected a positive response, particularly for a front desk agent role. However, despite submitting his resume multiple times, he received no callbacks. Now, that does happen. I have not received callbacks multiple times. I remember applying to a couple of jobs. I mean, I was entry level, but I was applying for CEO. Like, I literally submitted a CEO resume to monster.com. Like I could run this thing. It doesn't have to be racist. Huh? What's that? Keep reading? Oh, okay. Frustrated, Jackson decided to experiment by adjusting the dates of his previous job experiences, and he changed his name on his resume to a more Caucasian sounding one, John Jabrowski. He was then offered multiple interviews within the same week. You know what? I can't. Our second nominee for Racist of the Week. Detroit's Shinola Hotel. I can't help you, Shinola. I mean, that's just cut and dry. That's as bad as leaving in whites only, don't tell job applicants. Like, it's that bad. There's a reason why you guys are here together. And shout out to Dwight Jackson for a solid Caucasian sounding name. John Jabrowski is pretty good. I think I would have gone with Connor Tanner, or my old standby, Ryan Seacrest. Now, he actually went to the interview. He showed up to the interview, the John Jabrowski interview, which is hilarious in and of itself. I need to see the footage of Dwight Jackson showing up to the John Jabrowski interview. Did he show up like Eddie Murphy in White Like Me? Huh? Or was it more of a True Identity situation? Or perhaps even the weigh-ins in White Chicks? I need to know which one he decided to go with. During the interview, according to attorney Jonathan Marco, who's representing Jackson, he disclosed his true identity and confronted the interviewer about the racism. And I'm sure that made for a phenomenal interview. Can you tell me what your biggest weaknesses are? I can tell you what your biggest weaknesses are. Black people. After completing the interview process, the lawsuit states, Jackson was promptly informed he was no longer under consideration for the position. I wonder, what was the reasoning that they gave? I need to know the reason that he put on too much of the white makeup, like before he showed up. What was the reasoning they gave that he was no longer considered for the position? Now, in response to these allegations, the hotel's operating partner conveyed a commitment to inclusivity and a zero tolerance policy against discrimination in an email to CNN saying, we take this allegation very seriously and do not tolerate discrimination of any kind. We are committed to fostering an inclusive workplace where everyone has the opportunity to succeed and are dedicated to building a diverse workforce that reflects the community. That is everyone except for the Dwight Jacksons of the world. I wonder what they mean by diversity. Like they have a lot of women that work there. Maybe there's a lot of women that work there. And this is the difference between a public message and private practice. We have seen your private practice, so I don't want to hear about your public message. In fact, a recent study published by the National Bureau of Economic Research found that name bias is a prevalent issue in the hiring process around the country. Researchers sent out identical resumes to 108 U.S. employers to analyze whether race and gender affected callback rates for job applications. Just guess who received the fewest callbacks. Go ahead. Let's all say it together. Black men and women. There we have it. Yes, black male and black female names received the fewest callbacks. So congratulations to Arthur Grand Technologies, Shinola Hotel, and America, because clearly this is an American phenomenon. And if things go the wrong way in November, it's going to get a whole hell of a lot worse. As always, if you have somebody you would like to nominate, go ahead and leave it in the comments. You can email me at reese.waters@gmail.com. Be sure to subscribe to the page to make sure you get notified when the next video drops. By the way, I have an email list that I maintain, and I have a newsletter that I send out periodically as well. I would love for you to get on my email list. Feel free to shoot me a message at reese.waters@gmail.com. That's reese.waters@gmail.com. And the same goes if you have any suggestions for videos, if you have any nominees for Racist of the Week, if you have something that you are troubled by, or you just want to throw me a kudos, feel free to email me. I don't always get a chance to look at all of the comments, but I definitely look at all of the emails and I respond.